Hello everybody, and welcome to the Golden Feather Tavern. We are Vertec and Chibi, keepers of this fine establishment. Today, the tavern has opened its doors and set its tables to welcome some fantastic and fun-loving members of the Ashes of Creation PvP community. So, pull up a chair, grab a nice tankard of ale, mead, hot chocolate, or any other delicious beverage of choice, and join us in today's discussion. Today is the 23rd of August, 2025, and this is the TGF Tavern PvP Summit number 001, the afternoon session. And Chibi, what do we have on tap today?
Oh man. Today we'll be hearing questions from 6 different PvP fanatics in the Ashes of Creation community, some of which may be representing a channel, a brand, guild, or community with multiple members. The day will be divided into 2 segments with a 15-minute intermission between. At the halfway mark, one guest will be switching out with another, but we have 6 guests in total, 5 at a time. During the first segment, 3 questions will be asked by our chosen guests from the list that they provided, and once that guest represents their question and answers it, each other guest will take a moment to give their opinions or facts on the matter. After all 3 questions have been answered by each person, we'll be moving on to a 15-minute open discussion on which was voted by most popular by our guests. You may also notice that we'll have channel point redeemed called Submit a Question. This is where you, the viewers, will be able to directly become involved in today's topics. Don't worry, our trusty barback will remind you about it from time to time, but you'll be able to click that redeem, add your question, and it will be included on the poll. This poll will be sent out later in the stream, and you can decide which question you would like to hear our guests discuss. This discussion of viewer-chosen questions will start at the #1 most rated question and work our way down as the discussion is exhausted. This will continue for about 25 minutes, and you can change your vote at any time before this deeper discussion begins. So don't be shy, vote early, vote often. After that, we'll take a 15-minute break to stretch our legs, refill our water, and this will occur approximately, I don't think 9:40 p.m., but I want to say maybe 2:40 p.m.
Yeah, let me see here.
Okay. The second segment will be a mirror of the first in every way, so be ready to submit some new questions. Those not chosen in the first segment will be moved on to the voting round of the second segment. And the one thing that we have unique this time around is we have 2 groups, session 1 and session 2. And so the first group will answer their questions first, and in the second segment, we'll be answering the top 3 voted questions from the evening groups. So hope you guys are excited, and we'll be taking our break around 5:40 p.m. Eastern, if you want to note that down. But without further ado, I think we will be, due to the time constraints, by the way, while Vertec and I are typically very much more interactive with you guys verbally, we may not be as interactive verbally during this time, but we'll always be interacting in chat. So please feel free to engage with us, but understand that our responses may be mostly in text. We also want to be respectful to everyone's time in voice by not talking over each other or interrupting our guests. So without further ado, I suppose we should go ahead and have our guests introduce themselves and let us know, what guild are you from, and a little bit about yourself, as well as your not role-playing experience, but PvP experience. We'll start that with Ado.
Hello, hi everybody, my name is Ado, my IGM is 720 and I'm a member of the guild, the Cartel. We are a European guild and we are a hardcore PvP guild, and we basically explore and experienced all the different scenarios of PvP that you can have in this game, and yeah, that's it.
All right, next.
Awesome.
Hansen?
Yeah, Hansen.
Hi, I'm representing Overlord, and we're a PvX guild looking for some server first achievements, as many as we can grab when it goes live. Mayorship, clears when content gets hard. And a lot of our members boast a lot of double-digit MMO experience. Personally, I have 20 years across various titles. Yeah, that's about it.
Nice.
Hello everyone, I'm Tim the Enchanter, or Tim. I'm one of the council members of Amnesty and OCE PvX Ashes of Creation Guild. My favourite part of MMOs are small to large scale PvP, and I've been shot calling for about 8 years.
Nice.
Awesome, Tim. Hey everyone, my name is VmanTX. I'm a shot caller, the current active shot caller for PvP for Suspect Guild. We're a mercenary guild, so we're hired for either helping guilds obtain mayorship, as well as maybe cavern, caravan protection, stuff like that. So we usually focus more on all types. My section, of course, is PvP. It's the only thing I live for, and I'm excited to jump into this with the questions we have.
Excited.
Awesome. Well, I'm Zombie. I represent Cats with Abs, shot caller for them. Hardcore PvP myself.
Zombie,
but,
microphone's muted.
Oh, great. I don't know how that happened.
I hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
you hear me? Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, anyways, yeah. Representing Cats with Abs, yep, hardcore PvP myself, but Guild is a growing community of more inexperienced PvPers that we're trying to grow up and build so we can expand the PvP community. Currently been playing MMOs for probably about 5 years and love the PvP aspect and the shot calling aspect because I like yelling at people and hope to bring some good discussion to this.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Now, just as a not really a preference, but a reference point for everybody who's watching and or listening, if you're listening to this while you're doing Ashes or whatever, Vertec and I are not really all that versed in PvP. So I thought it'd be very fun to experience this kind of thing with all of you guys who have been doing a lot of PvP and really kind of get to know how you guys feel about Ashes, because our community is primarily comprised of a lot of PvE players and artisans and stuff like that. We like to see the varied stuff. So my question to you is, what has been the best part of testing PvP in Ashes this far? And Ada, why don't you take us away?
Sure. So personally, I am a big open world PvP enjoyer. So I really like, going around the map to fight for grind spots or whatever. But one of the most enjoyable things that I've done during this testing was for sure scrims with other guilds. So like 8v8, 16v16 or raid v raid, and just the whole aspect of trying to improve yourself and along with your team. And also the whole theory crafting aspect to me was very, very enjoyable. We have some great theory crafter in my guild. I am very lucky. And yeah, that was very, very enjoyable for me.
Nice.
All
All right, Hansen.
I think phase 2, some of the large scale desert PvP that happened. I'm pretty sure I've seen you out there, Chibi, on the battlefield.
Once or twice.
And some of
Trying.
those big 30+ caravan large PvP events, lots of fun. Yeah, that's most notable to me. It stands out.
Fun
Very
times
fair.
those were. Just saying.
Yes. All right. Tim.
For me, the best part of testing Ashes PvP in the alpha state is having all of these different experiences and scenarios that we won't have on launch, where new systems are introduced and tested and aren't exactly balanced correctly, or they're trying out systems that won't necessarily work for launch, and getting to experience all those things. It's like playing the game multiple different times over in different game states. And then when we finally get to launch, we'll have the final iteration, but the other people won't get to have those experiences.
Dang it, Tim! You two took that right out of words out of my mouth on that. I was going to say is what I love about the alphas of MMOs is you get to play an unbalanced character for a short period of time. I am a mage main in most MMOs. I got to experience my overpowered mage early on. So early on, I think the most fun in phase 2 was playing just a hardcore glass cannon nuker. But I think I love the experience of seeing third-party PvP in an open world environment. We have a MMO that's being developed where we actually have open world PvP again, which is our old, I think a lot of old school PvPers like myself miss that open world PvP. So I am super excited for that. Seeing that progress and be able to give real feedback to the creators, like Planetdorf and other amazing creators that are there to give us, to listen to our feedback and really listen to PvPers, PvEers, and find that balance. I'm loving right now the balance that we're trying to find, that PvPers don't scare off PvEers. As a PvPer, I like to protect the PvEers in a way. I like being able to get my PvP groups together and guard the PvEers while they're farming mats and materials to craft. That's super fun. And then colliding with another opposing guild that wants those mats, and now we have some creative content and tension where the PvPers are battling out, where the PvEers are trying to get those materials to secure stuff for the PvPers, right? Because it comes back around. Your PvPers protect the PvEers. So I don't know. I'm excited. I love seeing some old school PvP again.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh-ha.
Let's see. I'd like to say for me, probably part of my favorite is the kind of a twofold, the organic PvP that we kind of create for ourselves in a matter of hosting scrims or hosting get-togethers. You know, we as cats have had the ability to host like PvP nights on Fridays where we get every guild under the sun, guilds that don't like each other, guilds that love each other, mix up some teams and really just create some organic content and create some organic situations where we kind of have a little bit of control on the fairness and the evenness of teams. But then on the flip side of that, also the fun part is how we have the ability to, you know, go out there into the tropics and, you know, have one objective, which is farm this mob or farm this boss, and then you all of a sudden have PvP where it may be in your favor, may not, and you've got to figure it out how to play it, how to go after it, and you just get that experience and enjoying that PvP with each other. And maybe you win, maybe you lose, you come back with some more people, maybe you don't, and it's all GG's at the end. And, you know, it's a great experience for everyone to learn and kind of grow with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that for an open world MMO such as Ashes, it's important to see these things happening in the world. It makes it feel more alive, things like that. So very excited for that. So now we are going to go ahead and move on over to Hansen's question first. So Hansen, go ahead and read out your question and then answer it for us, please.
All right. My question is, what is your opinion on class balance / identity in PvP? And kind of looking for like where certain classes fit here. My idea is, you know, rogue and warrior as melee kind of dominate 1v1s, and that's, you know, my opinion. And then, like, you know, range kind of take over when you get into big ball Zerg mentalities, and rogue and, you know, fighter kind of feel like they're sidelined, and if they go in or engage, they're just gonna get, you know, focused and deleted. And kind of looking, you know, if you guys share the same opinion, you have something differing. And is it okay that like rogue and fighter have those like dominant roles in smaller scale and then feel weaker in like Zerg? And then yeah.
Yeah, class balance is a really difficult thing to manage when not all the tools for the classes are available yet. So we don't have secondary archetypes, we're restricted to level 25, so the leveling tree is fairly restrictive. However, on the current state of PTR, I would say that archetypes have a unique enough identity to make them distinguishable and unique from each other. Fighter with Blood Fusion, Tank's Absorption Field, and Ranger's Vine Field, to name a few. They're all noticeable, unique abilities that make it work. I'm never confused about what class I'm fighting, so I think they've got the identity down for the moment. On the hotly debated topic of balance, I believe the new set of set bonuses and consumables on PTR are going to allow people to excel in their class roles like never before, possibly bringing those previously non-viable classes into the spotlight. And some classes are still vastly better than others in 1v1 and small scale, but the game isn't being designed for that. So there's lots still to come, but I believe we're headed in a healthy direction for class balance. And I'm sure we're still going to have some drastic imbalance over and overpowered systems to come.
Love it.
All right. V-Man.
Yes, yeah. I was sitting there thinking, because not to answer, because I feel like it's something I think a lot of hardcore PvPers would probably all agree on. One way I'll understand if we're a hardcore PvPer playing this and we've made it this far through the alphas, that we understand the game is not meant to be balanced to 1v1s. However, I am a believer in the rock, paper, scissors mentality. There should always be a class that destroys you, and you should always be able to destroy another class. I'm a big believer in that because it gives you that fun, excitement, something different. So like if I'm playing, mage and my counter is, I don't know, a fighter, let's just say, let's throw a random chip in there, which we know is not the case, but and then I can destroy rogues, but then the rogue can destroy fighters. I love that. I love that little circle of life almost, right? So I do believe in the rock, paper, scissors mentality, but I also believe there should be classes potentially that are better in 1v1s, so they can kind of find niche. However, I still want to see it further play out, because I think as we see right now in group PvP, melee classes, particularly really just the fighter, is getting destroyed pretty heavily in big Zerg fighting. So you have to put really niche roles for your fighters. Maybe it's defending your backline. Maybe it's not rushing until you actually do a full merger frontal assault on the other Zerg. So you kind of have to find the right spot for those. Rogues can be utilized very freely with a good PvP caller, shot caller, but fighters are still finding that niche. I think a lot of PvPers would agree with me is that we still need to see some more development of fighters, how it's going to play out, or are we going to put them in a niche role and they have to stick to that niche role for the remainder of the game? I don't know. But I do believe kind of in a strong 1v1 sense. I do like seeing that. I don't know. In a way.
Okay. Zombie.
Yeah, I mean, all great points. I mean, I kind of agree with all of the above. I think the thing right now with Rogue and Fighter in small scale is, you kind of know what you're getting with those classes, and we've seen some of the PTR stuff, and we see some of the next phase stuff that people have a changing opinion about some of these classes in a sense, i.e. some of my Rangers aren't complaining as much about getting destroyed in 1v1s. They feel like they actually can hang on just a little bit longer. But as far as like knowing what you have for those scales of battles is great, because I think some people are like, well, mage is great in those big large scale events because they have a lot of AoE, they have a lot of clumps, and I think as the classes develop and as the game develops, we're going to see a lot more abilities and more usages of the kit for some of those abilities and some of those classes, to where they can have that viability where it's like, hey, this is my 1v1 spec, this is okay, I need to swap to my 8v8 spec, okay, we're going into a big 40v40, my role changes, my abilities change, and kind of having that flexibility and creativity to kind of switch those up will be nice come the future if we ever kind of get that. And right now I think people that play those classes that are kind of underused and underdeveloped have a sense of kind of what their role is, and don't try to do too much with it because they feel limited. So while the skill ceiling is high and it opens up a lot for players to be good at their role, I think the ability of what they're limited to now kind of inhibits that. So the skill ceiling kind of gets closed a little bit just based off what they're allowed to do. And I think we've seen some good changes coming in the future, and we're kind of moving in the right direction for those classes.
Very fair. Addo.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Fighter, I agree with all the points that has been made during this time. Personally, yeah, Fighter is a bit of a rough spot, because talking about strictly class identity, when I think about Fighter, usually I always think about this very tanky DPS who has a lot of sustain, who, can dive the enemy backline and still have a chance to come out fine. Currently, this is not the case in Ashes. I think I never play Fighter, but I spoke with a lot of people who would like to play Fighter. But since it's a very, open world, a raid versus raid oriented game, the class still hasn't found, I think their spot in a very large scale context. Personally, I think that, as people were saying, it's fine if some classes are better at 1v1. For example, I think Rogue is the nature of the class of being a 1v1 class to shine in small scale scenarios and maybe lose a little bit of that value in large scale. But yeah, as people said, the game is not balanced as around 1v1s. It shouldn't be balanced around 1v1s. So hopefully they manage to, bring up the class identity to the level that Bard has, to the level that Rogue has, especially for classes like Fighter.
absolutely. And I know that there's a lot of things that they are working on changing ahead of phase 3, so I'm really excited to see what those are like. But in the meantime, Ado, we're going to go ahead and go to your question next.
Okay. So should I read it?
Yep, please go ahead.
Okay, so my question was, should high momentum stay a fundamental mechanic of the game? So thinking about this, like we all experienced the high momentum movement in both phase 1, phase 2, and most of 2.5. I personally think it was really fun. I really enjoyed, having this high movement, and my dodge rolls actually matters a lot. And I think the biggest issue that I have right now with the current movement is that when you try to dodge or jump, you feel like there are some air brakes, like you're hitting an invisible wall while you are in the air. And personally, I really dislike this change, but I understand how melee classes were struggling in a world where a tank can just dodge roll 50 meters away from you despite wearing heavy armor or whatever. Like, I understand that they needed to do something about it, but maybe we're going a bit on the opposite side, like a bit of making the game static. Because for me personally, and I think for a lot of people, the high momentum, the high movement was really fun to play around and to play against.
Yeah, very fair. All right, so Hansen.
While it was fun, the high momentum, the way people were using like scripting to force input jumping to make sure their momentum carried over was a bit toxic for us. It needs to be implemented in a healthy way is what I want to get at. And then you also don't want to detract from other classes' expression and mobility. Like, for instance, like the mages, have the highest momentum ability with their teleport, and then if you hit the dodge roll, you're just halfway across the map. That's not really balanced. But then, also getting on a mount and not being able to get away from people because their momentum capitalizing also doesn't feel good. So it needs to be balanced in a way that's healthy. And I think both iterations that we've seen aren't really healthy. So if we could find some happy medium somewhere in the middle, I think that could be good for the game.
Very fair. Right, Tim.
Yeah, fantastic points from everyone. So my angle is that movement and positioning in Ashes of Creation will always be a fundamental skill. However, before this air brake system, as Ado put it, meaning the forced break in momentum when a movement skill finishes or a dodge roll finishes, players were able to circumvent smart positioning and precise usage of movement skills and replace them with b-hopping and carrying momentum. I believe this old system, although it was very fun while it lasted, was also very imbalanced and contributed to class imbalance issues and made things like water trivial to traverse with the b-hopping. I don't think they should revert the changes. However, some class skills definitely need some tweaking to make them feel smooth again, as the air brake system feels horrible for classes like Ranger at the moment. And I think this will change the landscape of ZVZ a little bit, as previously classes like Fighter in that small to mid scale or Mages were able to blink into the conflict, burst their load, and then they were able to double dodge roll b-hop out for absolute free. Like, they made a fundamental mistake, they blew all their movement going in, and they didn't get punished for it because they were able to just dodge roll out. So I think these changes are healthy overall, but they definitely need some tweaking.
Yeah. Oh, V-Man, I can't hear you. I don't know why.
Sorry about that, guys. I muted so I didn't activate for Tim there. Tim, was that burst your load? Did I hear that right? Hey, as a mage, I love going all out, using mana dump. So as momentum, I'm a big believer in high skill. So I played semi-professionally in a lot of games, tournament-wise, and a lot of tournaments for FPS games. I'm a big believer of high skill cap. However, I don't want. The problem is, I do believe a game like this needs the Care Bears and PvEers. As a PvPer, I'm a big believer in that. So I don't want to scare those people away and get them shut out of game mechanics because the skill cap is so high that they can't even enjoy the game. That's why I'm a big believer of like the mercenary guild that I'm in, that we can actually protect those people as needed. And I like the way this the game is kind of balancing that out. But back to the real question, I do believe I do believe high momentum needs to stay in the game for skill purposes. If you start limiting that, it adds away fun plays that can happen and cool tactics. When you have stuff that is constantly recurring in PvP, it just becomes boring. High momentum allows you to throw oddballs or risky plays as a shot caller that can be really fun on both sides of the coin, both sides of the battlefield. But I mean, as far as like things like the Bard, we had a Bard in our guild. I know he was the first that I ever saw break it. He was getting 50,000% movement speed, which was a huge bug that we reported. And things like that is insane. Obviously, I know we're not even talking about that, but I do like to see that high momentum. There's certain, I think certain roles can play certain high momentum. Maybe you're trying to play a certain play with only fighters can pull off, and you just want to launch your fighters all into one spot, maybe with some kind of thrusting ability or whatnot they can utilize. So I do like the high momentum, uses good strategies, but I do believe there probably needs to be some balance, like you said, the bunny hopping thing and aspect. I do like it. I think bugs can be really fun in games. For instance, like the mage blink where you could jump and then blink and go far, but it can get really crazy and out of pace if not balanced properly.
Very fair. And Zombie, rounding us up.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm probably one of the newer people to the game, starting only in 2.5 for me, like primarily. So what I kind of noticed coming into it is there is that skill ceiling with the movement to an extent, obviously minus the macros and minus the players that kind of had the macros going. That part of it, I felt kind of demotivated to chase people and to fight people. And, there were people that even during scrims, they'd be like, you know what, don't even bother touching this guy because he's going to get out of whatever. And we're not trying to overextend and put ourselves in bad positioning to try and chase somebody that has that skill or ability to kind of utilize the movement to their advantage. Because, like I said, I'm newer to it, so I wasn't able to do it off the bat and kind of get that momentum. I do think as far as like the movement system for the future, it has to be something to reward those melee players, the ability to get within range without somebody just simply moving out of the way of it. A lazily drift to the left and a couple of B-hops shouldn't, outpace me running at you or sprinting at you at full speed and using my abilities to get to you. Especially like me as a tank player, feeling I have to kind of use like my throwing axe or my grapple to kind of get close, and you're out of range of my wall, so I can't even really catch you in some instances, it felt like. But then moving to that PTR with that sudden abrupt stop, I felt it was also quite a bit punishing for those players as well, to where you kind of felt like you couldn't get away from things. I think kind of revamping the movement abilities and potentially adding trees to those movement abilities and adding some things like that could potentially work towards a momentum fix. And kind of agreeing with the first point is I think we just need to find an in-between with what we've seen on PTR and what we have now. I think finding that middle ground is going to be great, where there's still that skill ceiling, but also, you can't just get away forever, especially if I'm on mount,
Very fair. All right, before we introduce our final question for this part, I want to remind those of you listening that we do have the redeem for you to submit a question. Please use that, because as we wrap up this section, I will be closing that down and we'll be opening up the straw poll for you all to vote while we go into the next segment. So without further ado, Tim, please take it away with your question.
All right, here we go. So the question is, do we think the addition of the originally intended system for flagging, where players cannot CC non-combatants, is a good change? Having lived so long with being able to CC non-combatants to steal resources in the open world, it seems a lot of players are split on whether or not this is a good change. My answer is, as a PvP player, being able to CC non-combatants opened up a world of opportunities against other PvP players. If someone is training mobs into your party, you could CC them, preventing the train and killing the person in the process. Contesting world resources by CCing players off of a tree they were harvesting, requiring them to flag up and fight, or leave the resource. This was fun for the players if they both liked PvP and gave a solution to griefing, but it also caused a lot of griefing of its own, CCing the cleric of a contesting party to prevent healing on the group's tank, causing them to wipe, grappling people off the bridges of Forge into the lava, and my favorite being permanently marionetted by bards at Firebrand and watching my pocket cleric spam Purify. The system feels like something has been ripped away from PvP players because it's been taken away without adding the supporting systems that were meant to support its initial inception, like the corruption system being fully implemented and rebalanced. The only recourse to fill the void is the new PvP zones, which look very promising. In conclusion, I do think that this change needed to happen, as the PvP was often one-sided and turned into griefing. And once the other systems come online, I don't think it will be that big of an issue.
Nice. All right, V-Man, you're first.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm sitting here thinking, it was so annoying when that happened, right? When someone would essentially stun lock one of your lower levels that we're trying to outgather. And as a PvP person, anyone that's PvP in my guild, which we are a merc guild, so almost all of us, right, at least do PvP to some degree. We would obviously mount up and we're going to go help that individual and protect them. But because of the distance, and which, by the way, I love how big Ashes is, and the distance is very important to its ability and gameplay loops and game. But because of that distance, you couldn't get there fast enough, so it just didn't feel right. So I would like to see more, I guess, what I'm getting at, Tim, but it was always one-sided. You were correct. You would get there and maybe a PvP scram would happen, because then you would send one of your PvP peers to protect the person getting CC locked, and they would send another PvPer, and now it was 2 of them there, then it was 3, and then 4, then 5. Then you have a guild war happening, which is really fun. It's cool. So it did allow for the opportunity of amazing content, PvP content, to occur, which is awesome. If your guild's going to back and help each other, like our guild's always going to protect each other. And that's why every time any of these happen, we had guild wars constantly happening with Suspect. But I do think it didn't feel right. There's something missing. So I'm willing to admit that, but I did like that it always made amazing and fun content. I think we did see that happening recurringly. But because the corruption system isn't in correctly, it just doesn't feel right. Like, the corruption system is obviously extremely penalizing right now. I think a lot of PvPers probably agree with that. It may be wrong. It may be an outsider since I didn't play 2.5, except maybe like a couple days. But I just felt like it's extremely there's a hard penalties to it, and I know they're reworking it. And I think we need to see where the reworks of the corruption system are before making hard changes like that, because I feel like that's the missing component, is the corruption system being fully done and worked. But I'm willing to agree it does not feel right. But I also want to say that because of it, we've had amazingly fun PvP encounters with other guilds. In fact, there was one time I think it ended up being a 4-guild fight because of CCing on the Raptors. That's it.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I did PTR testing, one of the first things that when they introduced the lawless zones, I went over there immediately and kind of scoped it out and saw how it would be and how cool it was. And people were leveling in there because they were like, hey, this is the anvils. I want to just level here because there's mobs my level. But now it's a PvP zone. And it was great because it brought organic PvP in an area where there normally wouldn't be unless both parties flag. I'm kind of on the defense of the PvEers, where I think there should be a little bit of protection for them, especially when there's a level disparity to an extent, because a lot of times it's not the case of 25s griefing 25s for specific things. A lot of times it's, somebody's getting bullied out of a spot or getting bullied out of something because of a numbers game or a levels game. And guildless people or people that are kind of just playing at their own casual pace and don't have the 10-12 hours a day to grind kind of get demotivated from actions like that, when it's like, hey, I just got to level 20 lumberjacking, I'm going to go craft my axe and I'm going to go chop this tree. Hey, this is the first one I've seen, and now they're getting CC'd out of it. And some classes and some abilities allow for more CC than others, where it's like you could just run around on a rogue and do better CC, or a bard and do better CC, and not every class has the ability to kind of get out of it and fight back for it in the time that it takes to respond to that. So I mean, I think there should be some sort of protection. Lawless zones I definitely think are going to help in the areas where it matters most, like POIs, world bosses, and things like that. I think that will help as a general step towards. Yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Very fair. All right. Addo.
Yeah, so this is a very big topic. I think this is a very good question. So personally, I'm a big fan of CCing non-combatant players. I know that many people don't like this, but this game, according to Steven, was always advertised as a game where you have to fight for resources, no? There is a scarcity of resources in the world, and you need to fight for them. And this is what will make you, as a player, and your guild also, more successful than other guilds. I think Vman really understood the problem. I think this comes down to what corruption is right now. Steven said multiple times that is way overtuned from what it will be on launch. Fighting for resources should be the main gameplay loop of the game. This change, in my opinion, does not help with that. This change just makes it so that fighting for resources means that you just get to a resource first, and because you get there first, now this resource is yours. I would like to see them reverting this change, but I don't think they will. What I do think they will do is, again, reward corruption, make it in a way that we are able to actually fight for resources in the open world, because fighting for resources, despite what many people like to say, is not griefing, is actually the main point of the game. So, yeah, this is my opinion.
Very fair. All right, and then I believe it's Hansen. Yes.
Yeah. Agree with a lot of the points presented so far. Pleasure of being last, but I do think, yeah, it's the fact that the whole package isn't there yet, right? Corruption, already stated, way overtuned, to where it's so overtuned that it's a huge deterrent. Whereas, like, maybe in the future, when it's in its balanced form, you may actually consider taking that risk. And if you can't CC someone off, your other option is to kill them off of it, right? And then yeah, you do go corrupt for it, but you know, without that piece of the pie being balanced, it does feel off, where you're so far incentivized not to do that you don't even consider that as an option that should be an option to you. And then the other piece is, you know, we had it the other way, and yeah, you could grief people, and you know, the game isn't balanced around being 1v1. So if you were like a 1v1 king and like you didn't have the support with you at the time, you could get griefed off the node and just lose because of class balance. I know, you know, if a bard rolled up on most classes aside from rogue, they're just, you know, making you blow your CC break and hitting you with another one, and then hitting it right in front of your face while you can't do anything about it, and that doesn't feel good. So you know, without classes having similar options available to them, yeah, I guess it's a step in the direction of anti-griefing, but it also takes away, you know, that innate spark of, you know, creating a conflict around scarcity of resources. So it's in a peculiar state while, you know, the whole package isn't here.
I like fighting for the mats.
Real quick, please make sure to use the redeem. We have our submit a question redeem that'll automatically have bar back, put it in our question slots. And I do see your question about, you know, being able to see the questions like that have been submitted. We can definitely try and find a way to let you guys see that going forward. But in the meantime, we don't have that capability, but it's good to know for the future. The next segment, while we close up the submit a question options, are going to be our guests discussing one of the 3 questions that we just discussed, but in further depth. And if you guys don't feel like there's really much that you want to elaborate on, you're welcome to let me know, and I can supply you guys with the question document. You can choose maybe one in there that you like, or another that you submitted. I don't know. Zombie, I know that you're a last minute replacement. So if you want to bring maybe one of your questions, if nobody has anything, then we can at least get at least one of your questions answered.
You know, I entirely forgot which questions I submitted to this because I did submit questions.
You did.
I think they were good in my head. But then
I can pull that for you as soon as I get the poll set up, but I'll let you guys have a little bit of time to deliberate on which stuff you do. You heard zombie smells bad. I don't know. I heard zombie smells like flowers from.
No, I came from the gym.
You came from the gym.
I was
I smell pretty bad right now.
I was being nice. Flowers, you guys. Flowers.
It's a deodorant.
I'm just glad I'm not the only one that forgot about him.
Is it closed? Are we good?
I can close it.
Yes, please. I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. Don't worry, though. When we open them, you guys will be able to submit more questions in the future. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with that.
Just trying to make sure we don't break the file.
Yeah. You guys go ahead and feel free to talk amongst yourself, whatever questions you guys want to elaborate on. Go for it. It's your open conversation section.
Zombie, are you required in Cats with Abs to all go to the gym? Is this like y'all go together?
No, it's mostly just like a PvP thing, you know. It's just like, you know, keep your core tight, you know.
Keep your core tight. I love it.
I'm just wondering, is the gym like your way to get prepared for PvPing in Ashes, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, I have aspirations to be the most jacked shot caller in Ashes of Creation. And, you know, you're never going to get there by sitting on your computer for 10 hours a day grinding zombie thaumaturges. So, yeah. And people like Strixon and things like that, you know, they're just nowhere close. So, you know, we kind of, we're working on it, you know?
Gotcha.
I guess as we're sitting here, Chiba, are we still sitting here? Or are we going for the
you
next
guys
section?
are, you're choosing whatever question you guys want to deep dive on. This is your open conversation type.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about fighter?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's
feel like that
revisit
would be
the class balance identity. I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later with like the kits and stuff, but I definitely think rediscussing some of that would be great.
Go for it.
I think if there was anything that I wanted to bring up in regards to fighter, I alluded in my answer that fighter is possibly going to see the spotlight in phase 3, and the reason for that is there's a new consumable and a new set bonus, or a couple of new set bonuses that fix some of the issues fighter had in large scale PvP. The main one I'm referring to is I think it's called a Starlink's potion, which gives you 6 seconds of CC immunity. And I think that could fix a lot of the large-scale issues that fighter has, allowing it to get that full Cataclysm MAME combo off. As previously, you would have to jump in and just go straight into Whirlwind, so you didn't get CC'd. That and the Rally set bonus that's been added to the game, which gives you healing based on physical power rating. So the higher your physical damage, the more healing the set gives you, and it's like a proc effect with a 30-second cooldown.
Yeah, could be good. There's also enough people targeting you, just evaporates you, right? Which is the main problem.
Yeah, I personally think that if your class needs a consumable in order to be playable, that's not really good design, you know?
I agree, 100%.
So, you know, I noticed that, so I didn't log a lot into PTR, I logged like, just a little bit, but I noticed that they've been adding a lot of consumables, like combat consumables. I don't really like the consumable meta in PvP, like, oh, you need to have like these 3 potions or these 3 scrolls in order to be effective. Like, I would like that each class would manage to, you know, rely their skill expression only because of their kit, and not because all the fighters needs to go this specific set, otherwise they're useless, or all the fighters need to use this specific consumable, otherwise they're useless. Like, I don't think this is a very good spot for the game.
Right, it forces hard meta choices, right? Which is kind of against Steven's vision for the game, right? Like there's healthy choices rather than a tunneled meta.
I mean, I think it's something could be simple as like ability reworks with some of these classes. I mean, I haven't played fighter personally, but like I've never seen a ranged fighter ability, right? Like what abilities does the fighter have that allows them to stay at that distance and stay at that range, aside from just pulling out their longbow and using that until it's time to dive in on the call. And when they do dive in, you know, they're going to get more
Yeah.
focus because people tend to not focus the tanks because they're tanks, and the people that are diving are your mages for your AoE, your tanks just for the abilities that the tanks have. But fighters are just like, well, my only ability and my only option is to jump in here, pop my bloodlust, swing my sword around in a big circle, and then use my ability to get out, or I've already used it diving in, but then I'm kind of just back to my bow.
Right.
Yeah.
Like some kind of ranged ability to contribute, if not.
Yeah, it's
like
good that the fighters can do that. Like right now during phase 2, you pretty much just had your fighters play backline and defend if you're in smaller, mid-sized PvP. As a shot caller, you probably call for a push on with your mages first or your tanks. Fighters are usually a secondary push, so because they would drop instantly. If a fighter ever pushed in our core group, they were immediately dead within 2 seconds or less. So usually, right now you had to use fighters as a secondary push. So you would push a section of your core in, and then your fighters are going right after. So the fighters were not taking the blunt of the damage; they could be more just DPS, kind of filling the role better. I don't know if there needs to be more of a synergy for fighters. Like if they're better in 1v1 combat, if that's the direction they want to go, then there needs to be some type of synergy they get off of some other class to be able to fight in group PvP maybe. But I think we all understand that they have to be fixed if they want to be survivable in group PvP, in big, massive group PvP. My thought is maybe, like y'all said, like some kind of a CC immunity or damage reduction immunity when they push in, but maybe there needs to be, like, if they're in that mode, there's no way to back out. So if they get some kind of, because CC immunity is massive in a game like this, if you can just send fighters with CC immunity for 3 seconds or something, that's super powerful. It could be overpowered. So there needs to be some kind of counter to that, right? It's risk versus reward. That's how this game is built.
right. Do you
Risk
think
versus
there's
reward.
room
So-
for triggers with like large number of players, or like combatant players nearby, like 10 or 20, that like it would only affect
Yeah.
large scale
bigger groups.
combat, right? Like say
point.
their CC break now with 10 plus combatants around now does give that CC immunity, whereas in a 1v1 it wouldn't. Do you think there's room for balancing that way where it detects a larger number of enemies nearby?
I think it's great, but I gotta ask, have you thought about that before, or you just thought of that on the spot?
I
think
literally
that's
just
actually
right
great
now.
idea.
I thought it was
I think
pretty
it's phenomenal.
innovative.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty dang innovative, because you're that's exactly what you're doing. You're allowing them to scale with the fight. That'd be awesome. I don't know if that's going to be overpowered with drawing a blank, guys. When you got dual classing, what does Ashes call it? Dual classes.
It's called
other
classing.
Class.
Yeah.
Archetype is when you're not a class
Second-
yet.
yeah,
So
second
currently we're
archetype.
playing archetypes and technically
First and
not
second
classes.
archetypes, yeah.
Thank you. So I think we might even need to see that happen though before. I always say you need to see the kind of the closer end goal of the game before you make a massive change to a game loop or a class. So we need to see how a tank fighter looks, or fighter looks. We need to see that fighter ranger, fighter rogue before we make a massive change to them. But I love something like that after we can actually do a class. I think that'd be really cool to see something like that where you get stronger with more around you. That could be a tank thing too, right? Tanks even getting something like that. That'd be a cool idea.
Yeah.
There you go, Zombie. I sent that to you. By the way, reminder everybody, you guys have just a little bit more time, 7 minutes, to get your poll in. We have the poll pinned at the top, and I am about to post it again for everybody to have access to. But don't forget to vote, get your answers in, and that'll determine the order we answer the questions.
Oh,
So
yeah, I just realized I asked terrible questions.
you're fine.
I'm glad I did too, man. I don't even know what I submitted. I'm just glad you forgot as well.
All right, here's one of my questions, right? How would you change the corruption system to allow for organic PvP to occur throughout the world? Currently, people wanting your spot won't risk corrupting for it if the people involved don't want to PvP.
Oh, dude. Straight
Right.
away, just put a corruption cap. Allow me to save up a certain amount of karma system, kind of like Black Desert Online, from grinding mobs, and then I can spend that by killing people. And if I go negative, then I go corrupted and can drop gear. But give me a barrier before I start dropping gear.
Yeah, I agree. I thought about that too.
Yeah, that's the
Well,
only solution. People will never go red on purpose with the current system because it's never worth it. And as much as people like to say, "Oh, you want to fight for a spot? Just go red, smile." Like, no, like, it doesn't work like that because you're not gonna delete literally hours of your progression just to fight for a fucking copper node. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because mats are such a big game loop, you said that earlier, they are so important. Battling over mats and having group fights over materials, especially heroic or legendary farms, is super important. So we have to have a balance to the corruption system because those are going to be very, very, very important to fight over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think right now the solution is a lot of people are just like, well, let's fight for it. It's like, well, how do you want to fight for it? Are we throwing down a caravan? Are we all leaving the POI and going to box it out by the Ember Spring? Are you going to guild deck us? Because you don't, I mean, there are systems in place to kind of take advantage of those people that don't want to fight for the spot. You could throw a guild deck on it. In some situations, it may not just be one guild, so you got to carry around, 20 gold a pop to get somebody out of a spot. Especially if they don't want to fight back. That's kind of the big thing is like if people don't want to fight back and they just want to try to contest a spot with you, with the way the corruption system works right now, it's like you're not going to be able to really do too much. And kind of going back into the CCing greens, if you can't CC their healers or you can't really do anything like that, and it makes it even harder to contest spots without having some way of organically fighting for it without the corruption system being so punishing.
Know about that?
Yeah.
So we're just chilling for a second.
I like the idea of being able to build up like a karma, if you will. Like you can grind the red corruption off, but being able to like grind up some limited bank that you could use against, feels kind of good that you have some limited availability to, just smite someone without going red because you built up a good karma bank. But, I guess it also leaves its own space for being abused. I don't know. But then again, if you farm enough to get you that reward, I don't know, maybe it definitely needs some balancing for sure.
Yeah, and some of the systems already in place, right? Like we've got the blight system, so you gain more corruption after killing people. That blight stays with you at the moment permanently, but there's plans for there to be consumables or quests to remove that blight so that you don't gain so much corruption when you kill someone. And that's the beginning of this potential system that could come in. So hopefully Intrepid's going in that direction and it all comes together.
Yeah, I think we all understand that when Intrepid put in the corruption system right now, they meant it to be as punishing as possible because there's no balancing system right now behind it. So dropping the gear, hopefully, is their goal. From what I understand, it's not going to be on your first level of corruption. And dropping gear should not be even in the first few or mid levels. It needs to be late corruption status where you start dropping gear, but it needs to be able to penalties. For sure, but as they balance that, I would like to see how that plays out. But dropping gear in the beginning is just horrendous. It just demotes so much PvP. But they had to do that because in alpha right now, if us PvPers just delete all the care bears and PvEers, we don't have a game. And that's what PvPers have to realize is to exist, we have to have the other half.
It the way they did for testing, right? They don't want it to be a huge troll fest, right? While they want testing to occur.
From a non-PvP person's perspective, I think that while the corruption system is tuned a bit highly at the moment compared to where they intend on having it, I think it's also because the blight system, I think while it's not properly connected, in my opinion, to the corruption system. And I imagine that once that is properly connected, it will do a larger adjustment to how much corruption you actually have, rather than getting a static amount. So if you kill one person, now you're like completely, depending on the level, like a 2 or 3 level corrupted. I think that taking in the fact that that was the first person you've ever killed as a non-combatant should not have such a punishing response, because I was testing on PTR the rogue, and I was just trying out an ability, and my friend was like level 15 or 3 and I was level 15 because I was the highest they had for that moment. And I clicked that ability that lets you like teleport behind them and like do a big damage. And I accidentally like one-shot him basically. And then immediately went like level 3 corrupted. And I was like, oh God. Was not ready for that.
A little bit of how it works, right, is they take level discrepancy into account, right?
Mhm.
So you gimping someone 12 levels below you put you that high. As far as I know, just 25 killing a 25 only puts you at 1 with no blight. But once you hit like 10 blight, it instantly puts you at like level 2. So
gotcha, okay. So
it's like it's a way to scale, but you know, on the flip side, through like religion or something, they want you to be able to tune your blight down through effort. So you're not permanently stuck at going instantly to like 2 or 3 or whatever against equal level. So, and you know, again, we don't have the whole package, right? We're still developing all the systems, so
very fair. All right, well, I'm closing the poll right now, so I apologize if you guys are trying to put your votes in. It is getting closed.
The poll, I don't even have my stripper heels on yet. Oh
my gosh.
Hold up.
A less epic poll. Okay.
I know my guild is cringing with every word I say.
Like, who let this guy on the stream? What the heck?
Yeah,
This
that's
guy.
what they're all saying in the freaking Discord right now. Why is VMan representing us?
Okay, so we have our top 3 from the group, and they actually happen to all 3 be from the next segment. So we'll go ahead and ask those in order. So the first one is from Crix. And Crix asks, what safeguards are in place to prevent Zergs from dominating PvP content? And how will small to medium-sized guilds be given a competitive chance? We'll go ahead and go with Addo for the first answer here.
We got 20 minutes on this one. Open talk here.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a tricky question. So, yeah, sorry, you want to say something?
Chibi, could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're also putting it on screen for everybody. What safeguards are in place to prevent Zergs from dominating PvP content? And how will small to medium-sized guilds be given a competitive chance?
Okay, so personally, I think that maybe the only or the most effective way to prevent Zergs to dominate a map is to make this map very big and very large, and to prevent fast traveling, no? And this is something that they're already doing, so this is good. With that being said, I do believe that even at launch, big PvP guild will dominate, you know, world bosses or grind spots or events, because this is just the nature of open world games, you know, bigger number most of the time wins. And as much as Steven likes to say, oh yeah, you're gonna, if you run a small guild, a 10-man guild, and you guys are crafter, you can definitely have the chance to be competitive with bigger guilds. I think that's just copium. I don't think it will ever happen. You will never be competitive with an actual hardcore PvP guild who's managed to bring numbers in the map, who managed to field actually people. You can definitely have other ways, like, again, you can be a crafter, you can be a part of an alliance, you can be, I don't know, there's definitely other, like, this is what Intrepid needs to do. It needs to give these kind of people other ways to be relevant, no? That is not just bring 50 people to a war boss and win the war boss because you're just suffocating, you know, the enemy team. But yeah, I hope Intrepid will manage to figure out a good formula that will make everybody happy. But according to my experience, you know, open world means bigger number wins most of the time.
Anybody can go. It's open. So you guys can go in order. You can go however you want.
We will go. So this is something I think our guild talks about a lot, and because our goal is never to be the biggest. I know a lot of PvP guilds say what I'm about to say. Guild is not to be the biggest guild. We want to be a strong core guild that knows how to work together really well, with strong coordination. That doesn't mean you're always gonna have the best players. I mean, look at our guild. a lot of guys in our 30s, right? Probably the youngest at 28 almost. So we have a lot of people in the 30s. We have a lot of old school gamers, a lot of old school PvPers. I think what we're going to try to do is just rely on our coordination to work together. But, Intrepid's already placing things in place. Like, for instance, you can scale your guild by leveling it up to get more population inside the guilds, or give you more bonuses towards fighting, right, to leveling up your guild. So a smaller guild might be able to beat a medium-sized guild based on that. If they're working together better, their guild level is equal to where they have more fighting benefits or PvP benefits, is what I'm trying to say, from the leveling of the guilds. So I think that's cool they're adding. But in reality, small and medium-sized guilds, just like he was saying earlier, I think it was Addo was just talking. What's really important is when you scale the map, and this is why we need a big map with the right amount of population, because Zerg and mega guilds will not be able to control the whole map. It's not going to be possible. So you'll have essentially location-based controlling. So mid-sized guilds will be able to control, or even small, certain areas of the map if they keep their guild more condensed in that area. And I think that's a really cool factor that Ashes will be bringing. So mega guilds can't control everything. You'll have medium-sized guilds and smaller guilds be able to control sections of the map or areas of the map if they keep their population in that area. And I think that's really cool and really interesting. But also mercenary guilds. That's kind of like what we're trying to fix as well. Suspect, right? Not to be dropping this, but that's kind of the goal of the game, right? That Steven's even bringing is that there's going to be mercenary guilds coming in that you can hire. A mid-sized guild can hire, mercenary guilds to rival these bigger guilds. Maybe they get 2 other mercenary guilds to come in and work with them to fight against these bigger guilds. So that's what allows mercenary guilds to actually thrive in this game, whereas they can't really thrive in other types of MMOs. So I'm excited about all that, but I think there's a lot more I can ramble on.
It was dropped in chat too a little bit. Diplomacy. If you're not a big heavy hitter, get some friends.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an MMO. Being social is a huge part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one big thing that can help alleviate a lot of that. Is it's like, you have those relationships, you have that, especially when you have these areas that are controlled by different people. I think one way that they could potentially implement a system is, certain pocket dungeons, and really kind of limiting it to underground and in-dungeon type things would be a little bit easier to implement. Is just put like a party limit size, right? Like, hey, this level 5 dungeon, the party size max is 8 whenever you pass like a certain barrier to get into that little pocket dungeon. And that kind of scales the PvP max at like, hey, you can only have 8v8s down here. Even if you have a mega guild that has more than 8, you're still technically hostile to each other and you can still attack those other guilds.
Albion did something like that with the gates, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that could be potentially, like, hey, this is a 24-man sized max dungeon. So, it would kind of get maxed out that way. But in open world, I don't think it should be limited. I think open world should just be, you bring what you have. If it's a world boss and it's not and it's lawless, bring what you have. We saw it in the early days with Tumok. You'd have 3-4 guilds trying to all get the Tumok kill, and then somebody drops a guild deck and it says, hey, we're going to wipe out this guild because we know we can beat the other 2 guilds on DPS because of the amount of people we have. Let's take out this bigger guild and make it a contest. Hey, maybe Tumok resets, and then we kind of go for it that way. Open world should always be limitless, I think, and then pocket dungeons and dungeons and things like that. I think they could add party size. Yeah,
that's a great point, Zombie. To tail into that too, the smaller guild, remember, you have stat bonuses, so bigger guilds are not going to have as much of those stat bonuses the smaller guilds will have, right? That 1% extra damage on 24 people may add up when you're in that pocket dungeon. So it allows them to compete in there.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess to touch on that, Zombie, Violence and Pirates decked on each other, and then Overlord took a world boss with 5 people. So yeah, I guess it did happen just because they decked on each other, but it was kind of a niche scenario that if any of them paid any attention to the boss, we wouldn't have had a shot.
Yeah, 100%. Fantastic points from everyone. I think one of the things that's exciting about Ashes in whole is that when it comes to actual development implemented safeguards or dev implemented safeguards, there really aren't any. Like, you've got limited war rosters where multiple guilds can come together and can form a 100-man roster. And you've got the guild perk system, which give those extra percentage increases. But at the end of the day, there is no real solid safeguards that just stop those big guilds from running over. And that's kind of what makes the game exciting. It's like Game of Thrones, where if you let King's Landing invade and take everyone over, then they will. The game needs player resistance and real risk and destruction. I think it's what's exciting about the game.
Oh. Is there anybody who hasn't had a chance to answer this yet?
Or any
I don't think so.
responses to someone else's answers? If not, we can move
Yeah.
on to the next.
Yeah, if not, yeah, I'll grab the next question.
Send it.
All right. The next question, we have about 10 minutes left for this. Yellow asks, do you think Intrepid should add Colosseums to military nodes for organized/tournament PvP that the mayor could run? And I'm going to go ahead and pick on Zombie to answer this first.
Yeah, great, fantastic. Because I had my answer prepped, you saw. I could tell. Yeah, I do like the idea of having that. Even if it gets something as simple as like a building type for a military only node, that'd be something cool where it's like you could schedule events through it and be like, hey, the Coliseum's open anytime for anyone to drop in and just kind of tussle, if you will. But you can also schedule events where it's like, hey, this is going to be an 8v8 Coliseum type thing where you can hop in or you can select who's in. Mayor having to run that might be difficult because then that requires the mayor to be on top of all of it for all the scheduling and things like that. I think it could be like a delegated thing where it's like, hey, PvP event, here's who's running it. You could kind of set that and establish it just like you do with like the attacker defender stuff. You can kind of set those things in advance and be like, hey, I'm going to make you in charge of this event. I do think it would be great to have, again, some sort of organic way to generate PvP. I just don't think it should be commonplace because with all the military nodes there are, I think it should be a little bit more scarce. So that way it's not the only place that people are going to go for PvP, right? I think PvP needs to occur kind of naturally as well and not just in the military node. So.
Okay. Whoever wants to.
Yeah, I don't know about the mayor having to run it. I feel like it would be a lot of stress and extra responsibility on top of everything else that the mayor has to do.
Yep.
Do we want more PvP content? Absolutely. I'm not going to say no to having Colosseums. It's also a way that they could implement the arena system. They could have the entire arena system implemented through the Colosseums or the military nodes. And there's like roughly like 1 to 2 military nodes per region. So assuming that, one of those gets to level 4 and the other ones stay lower level, maybe we can have one PvP arena kind of per region. Would make a lot of sense.
Do you think they would go for maybe you queue into an arena only in military nodes instead? I know they don't like fast traveling stuff, but like if you do want to access some quantifiable team-based arena gameplay, like that it might be a good place in a military node to have that system.
I believe that is something that Steven talked about previously. Vertec and I have been around for a really long time, and I think that's something that I recall him talking about with a superpower of a military node being.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
That's great.
I don't know if that's changed though, because it has been a long time since he's brought it up. So just putting that caveat out there. I imagine it's the subject to testing answer that they like to give now.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they're at least linked, if anything, because it would be really exciting where you're playing on one continent and then you're able to queue into arena and fight the other military node on the other side of the continent and fight all these different players that have all these different gear sets from the POIs on the other continent. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, players you're not going to clash into on a day-to-day due to distance, but like you could meet each other in combat through this system. That'd be nice.
Maybe, yeah. there has to be an arena mode, right? I mean, they already said they're going to be adding an arena, but the Coliseum being part of that arena, the same kind of thing, has to happen because you have to give something PvP. PvPers, almost all PvPers are ADHD. They have to be like hardcore PvPers.
We want to be ranked too.
Yes, and we want to be ranked. We're all competitive. So if you're not putting that in there, then PvPers are taking their not sexual frustration, but PvP frustration out on the rest of the population, right?
Yeah, if we can't fight each other, we're gonna go bully people, right? So
yeah,
it'd be better to let us fight each other, right?
Yeah, let us bully each other. Let's fight each other and talk trash in the arena, right? But not really. But I never talk trash, but at all, right, Guild? No, but we have to have that arena so we can actually duel and fight. And I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've ran into. It's like, I want to make the strongest 5-man in my server. I want to have the strongest 5-man in arenas. I'm like, heck yeah, dude. Like, I want to make the most beast 5v5 team or 8v8 team or 3v3 team, kind of like WoW did, right? World of Warcraft did in these arenas and get ranked on that. And that is something I'm extremely looking forward to as far as small PvP content. So arenas have to happen to keep a good
with that
feedback.
What do you think an ideal team size would be?
They have to make it anywhere all the way. It has to be something anywhere from 1v1 all the way up to 8v8. And because the reason I say 8v8 is because we know there's 8 core archetypes, but there's also Steven always saying that you're balancing it for 8v8. So if you don't have arenas at 8v8, then you're not potentially balancing it at its best potential size. So it doesn't be all the way from 1v1 up to 8v8. Mayors should not have any level of full control over the arena, but maybe they can change things or whatnot to have some kind of like availability time slots, but it maybe needs to be access to some kind of council within that town, or just make it automated. They could find a way to make that automated as well. They just have to find a way for military nodes to have that arena. It also gives a reason to go to a military node, because why am I going to a military node when I can just base at an economic node or scientific node for all the other benefits that they're going to have? So yeah, the arena's got to happen. That's something I'm most looking forward to for small PvP content.
Has anybody not been able to answer the question yet?
I think, I mean, me, but yeah, I think it's an easy yes. Yeah, of course, there should be arenas. I understand how people saying, oh, maybe for the mayor is too much responsibility, but I personally would like to see mayors having more agency to the game, you know, because if I never been mayor, I'm not sure, but right now being a mayor is just posting commissions, or I don't know if you have
there's commissions, and then the turn-ins. I
wish that was all.
And then building management, but once your buildings are up, it's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that can be a lot to manage, especially, you know, talking with other guilds.
I was a mayor. It's
oh, okay.
10 minutes a day max.
Okay, so yeah, this is why I'm saying I would like to see, you know, oh, you're a mayor of this node, so like it means something, you know, like maybe you can host your own tournament in your own arena, and you know, or you have your own league with your own championship, and maybe, you know, the best ranked player becomes, I don't know, the champion of the node, you know, or gets a title or something like that. I think that would be really cool. But of course, there should be also, you know, arenas that are not tied to mayors, just, you know.
The idea with the military node was that's who would be mayor, right? Was some sort of combat to, and whoever was the mayor.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We'll see how they bring that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so
I know there's something you wanted to add.
Yeah. So to add another component to the question, because it sounded like some of you touched on it, but it wasn't really picked up and discussed on the good or bad part of it. Do you think that it should be queue from anywhere, or should you have to go to that node or at least that ZOI to queue into the arena or Coliseum? And depending on your opinion on that, do you think it would be good or bad for overall health of the game, especially including the fact that PvE seekers have to go to only downscaled, downplayed, like story-based places to get their instanced content?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I will say this. if the PvP arena has no rewards, it should be you can queue from anywhere because you're not getting advantage, you're just getting pleasure. Because when you do the PV instance, you're not zombies like, gosh, this guy's off the rails. No, but the PvE you're getting reward, right? PvP but I think a lot of PvPers, we want a reward, right? We like the PvP, but we need a reward. That's why we like doing caravan sabotages or attacks, right? So I think we need to make it locally, but as the game progresses, maybe try to see what happens if you do worldwide. But I'm not a fan. I like that you have to travel everywhere in Ashes.
Yeah, I like the queuing from the node type, right? It drives traffic and you interacting with the world rather than just, I'm going to open this menu in PvP. Like, I know WoW does that, and I think it detracts from engaging in the world and making it meaningful on where your character is. So I like queuing from a node.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Typically military, right?
It has to be military. Yeah, you got to give advantage to that.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the way that WoW has it. I haven't played a ton of WoW, so if I get it wrong, please correct me. But they have like this arena, like Gurabashi or something, where once you go down in there, you would just be flagged, and then either you team up and you fight, or you don't, right? I think something like that would be interesting as well, where it's just like hey, once you drop into the
POI that's like always purple. That'd be
yeah, sick. POI that like it's always purple. Once you drop down into it, you're just instantly flagged. Groups can be groups, like you can still have it, but yeah. Just an always flagged area, and maybe it is a military node, right? Like something they can put up if they hit like level 5 or something.
Okay. It'd be cool. It'd be good role playing too, if I can throw that in there, right? You can sit on the stands and watch people fight. I think that's cool. You can get like tomatoes. I'll throw at them too.
Yo, live betting, dude.
Exactly. It'd be cool role play.
Some people said that in the chat, and I was like, could always have betting in the tavern. That funds your tavern while you also while you're also watching. So
yeah, I agree with everyone else where I think you should have to travel. I definitely don't want anything in Ashes like a group finder or an auto queue to arena. I think that ruins the whole experience that it's going for.
Don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. I think similar to how economic and scientific nodes work, where when you get to that, I suppose it's called a city now, not a metropolis anymore, but when you get to that superpower, it's usually linked to all of the nodes within your vassalship. So I think that'd be pretty cool if there's a military superpower, and then every node linked within that ZOI or that territory, you can queue up from there. I think that would work fine.
okay.
Okay. So if everyone's gotten out their say on that, then we could probably move into our 15-minute break where we're going to actually lose one of these peoples and we're going to gain another one in his stead. Yeah. And then we'll be right back with another segment that is going to mirror this first. So some questions from the evening group this time, though, instead of the morning or afternoon. Morning, depending on where you are in the world, I suppose. And then we'll kick it right back off. So everybody have yourselves a fantastic 15-minute break, and we'll be right back. Fill your waters, grab your foods, stretch your legs.
Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
Yeah, and we're gonna, by the way, have a couple ads playing that were submitted by the community. A couple of them, we apologize. They're gonna have some missing audio, but they need to fix some audio on them. But hopefully they'll be ready by the evening session.
I did replace their audio because of YouTube things, but there are audio, but it's not the original intended audio. So bear with us. We'll get that updated later. But thank you so much to everybody in the community, all the guilds that gave us your commercials. It means a lot to us because we're allowed to play Ashes commercials now during the breaks. So enjoy this.
Right. We'll see you shortly. Take care, everyone.
See you shortly.
Alright, boys. This is what it all comes down to. This is going to be our first
big
real
match on the
challenge.
boys. You guys ready in about 60, 90 seconds?
We're at the start. We're praying, T-Max. We're praying. In our Lord in heaven, to our man Stephen. Everybody prepare yourselves. We shall smite down the enemy and the heretics on the other side. In his name we pray. Amen.
We have the EU pumpers, absolute slappers over here.
Schokoladen silenced. Chain lightning shutter. Boom.
Absolutely impeccable. Keep that up, boys. Clean sweep. Lock it in now. Just every game is a new game. Ball this shit. We got this.
X. Kill Tildor. It's done.
Yes. He's dead.
Get fucked. Schokoladen get fucked in the ass.
Yo, you want?
No.
3, 2, 1. Hard push north now.
Overlord's pushing in right now. Keep pushing.
We should W key and just finish.
Yeah, go. In. I lit their whole team on fire.
This is disbanding for them. Yeah, this is embarrassing for them.
All right, boys. This is what it all comes down to. This is going to be our first
big
real
match on the
challenge.
boys. You guys ready in about 60, 90 seconds?
We're at the start. We're praying, T-Max. We're praying. In our Lord in heaven, to our man Stephen. Everybody prepare yourselves. We shall smite down the enemy and the heretics on the other side. In his name we pray. Amen.
We have the EU pumpers, absolute slappers over here.
Schokoladen silenced. Chain lightning shutter. Boom.
Absolutely impeccable. Keep that up, boys. Clean sweep. Lock it in now. Just every game is a new game. Ball this shit. We got this.
X. Kill Tildor. It's done.
Yes. He's dead.
Get fucked. Schokoladen get fucked in the ass.
Yo, you want?
No.
3, 2, 1. Hard push north now.
Overlord's pushing in right now. Keep pushing.
We should W key and just finish.
Yeah, go, 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 go. In.
in.
I lit their whole team on fire.
This is disbanding for them. Yeah, this is embarrassing for them.
All right, boys. This is what it all comes down to. This is going to be our first
big
real
match on the
challenge.
boys. You guys ready in about 90 seconds?
We're at the start
We're
point.
we're praying, Tmugsy. We're praying. And our Lord in heaven, to our man Stephen. Everybody prepare yourselves. We shall smite down the enemy and the heretics on the other side. In his name we pray.
Amen.
We have the EU pumpers, absolute slappers over here.
Chocolate silenced.
Shit, absolutely impeccable. Keep it up, boys. Clean sweep. Lock it in now. Just every game is a new game. Ball this shit. We got this.
X. Kill Tildor.
It's done.
Yes,
he's dead. He's dead.
Get fucked. Chocolate. Get fucked in the ass.
Yo, you want... No. 3, 2, 1. Hard push north now.
Overlord's pushing in right now. Keep pushing.
We should W key and just finish.
Yeah, go, 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 go. In. I lit their whole team on fire.
This is disbanding for them. Yeah, this is embarrassing for them.
All right, boys. This is what it all comes down to. This is going to be our first
big
real
match on the
challenge.
boys. You guys ready in about 90 seconds?
We're at the start point.
We're praying, Tmugsy. We're praying. And our Lord in heaven, to our man Stephen. Everybody prepare yourselves. We shall smite down the enemy and the heretics on the other side. In his name we pray.
Amen.
pumpers, absolute slappers over here.
Chocolate silenced.
Chocolate is frozen. Chain lightning, shutter, boom.
Shit. Absolutely impeccable. Keep that up, boys. Clean sweep. Lock it in now. Just every game is a new game. Ball this shit. We got this.
Chocolate.
X.
Kill Tildor.
It's done.
Yes, he's dead.
Get fucked. Chocolate. Get fucked in the ass.
Yo, you want?
No.
3, 2, 1. Hard push north now.
Overlord's pushing in right now. Keep pushing.
We should W key and just finish.
Yeah, go. In. I lit their whole team on fire.
This is disbanding for them. Yeah, this is embarrassing for them.
All right, boys. This is what it all comes down to. This is going to be our first
big
real
match coming,
challenge.
boys. You guys ready in about 90 seconds?
We're at the start. We're praying, Team X. We're praying. In our Lord in heaven, to our man Stephen. Everybody prepare yourselves. We shall smite down the enemy and the heretics on the other side. In his name we pray.
Amen.
'EU pumpers, absolute slappers over here.
Chocolate silenced.
Chocolate is frozen. Chain lightning, shutter, boom.
Shit. Absolutely impeccable. Keep that up, boys. Clean sweep. Lock it in now. Just every game is a new game. Ball this shit. We got this.
Chocolate.
X.
Kill Tildor.
It's done.
Yes, he's dead.
Get fucked. Chocolate. Get fucked in the ass.
Yo, you want?
No.
Three, 2, 1. Hard push north now.
Overlord's pushing in right now. Keep pushing.
We should W key and just finish.
Yeah, go. In. I lit their whole team on fire.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Okay, now we're in there. Clicking go on the wrong button here. Killing myself. Well, everybody, welcome on back to PvP Summit. You'll notice when we come back in, there is a change. We lost a Tim the Enchanter and we gained an OrphanCrippler. And other than that, everything is going to be exactly the same. We're going to have questions. These ones are coming from the evening crew this time. And the other two segments after that will be identical. He's crippling what? Well about that.
Yeah, about that. And so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get the straw poll prepped up while you guys, this is again, the question should be available for you to submit your own questions going forward for this next bit. So make sure you submit questions as they pop up. And when we get to the last question for this part of the segment, before we open it for our guests to chat, then we will, thank you so much, Everett. Then we will go ahead and start the poll then. So I appreciate all of you and I'll keep you updated with that. But if everybody is ready, without further ado, we can go ahead and start right in with the next question. All right. So Yellow asks, Intrepid mentioned adding strong anti-Zerg mechanics, but we've seen none so far. What do you think a good anti-Zerg mechanic would be in Ashes? And we're going to start at the bottom. So Zombie, you're starting us off here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've touched on it a little bit before about, limiting certain interactions based on the amount of people allowed in things. Again, I'm of the mind that open world interactions should always be limitless. Limiting raids right now to 40 people is kind of a deterrent for that. Not that multiple raids aren't going to be a thing, but kind of keeping that size at 40 at the moment creates a little bit of a dynamic with the guild sizes also being capped out in the beginning of phases. I think that kind of helps out as well, because if you throw a guild deck, max 50 people are going to be in that guild at the start, so you have an expectation or an idea of how many people you'd be fighting. Obviously the counter to that is multiple guild decks and then sub guilds decking you as well, but in some instances that's not really a problem. Sometimes you want those extra guilds to deck you, so that way, one, you're not wasting your own money, but two, it opens up the PvP content a little bit more. So I think the mechanics that kind of exist in the moment with the party sizes and stuff like that is a help. As far as like anti-Zerg mechanics, it's going to be tough, I think, to implement that in an open world sense to where people will be satisfied and happy with it. Obviously, the big mega guilds want their numbers to matter, because numbers should matter. Why are you recruiting all these people for this? Why are you bringing 100 people to a world boss after reset if you're capped on it and you can't fight back for it? So I kind of like it as it is right now, but I haven't really played enough on the losing side of it really to know how bad that affects other people. So I kind of come from a different perspective of it.
All right, going up to Vman.
Sorry, I thought it was an Addo. So, man, I feel like I probably should have more thought put into this than I have. Maybe it's because I'm wanting to see more how the game progresses on anti-Zerg mechanics. But I feel like they're already doing it in the sense, like I said earlier, like the map, as long as this map is big enough and the population size on the server is the right amount, whatever that will be. Whatever that should feel like, because I'm feeling, Intrepid may change their ideal amount of how much they want to allow per server. I think it was 10,000 was what I remember hearing. I think that changed. I think when you have your guilds operate in one section of the map more so, that will help control the bigger Zergs that may be coming into your area just to farm maybe a special boss. You might be able to compete against them better. Once again, I don't know if it's Intrepid needing to limit the anti-Zerg mechanics fully, or if there also needs to be some gameplay mechanics in there. For instance, I've always resorted back to this. I think this is one of the MMOs that can really utilize merc guilds, mercenary guilds that can be hired to help fight against Zerg guilds. But I think the fact that they were limiting the amount of people per guild, unless you upgrade and level up the guilds, that will you can only fit so many people in a guild unless you level up the guild. And the smaller guilds can, instead of leveling up the guild to fit more people in, they can level up the guild to be stronger or get more advantages on crafting or experience, whatever it may be, PvE, to essentially get more benefits there. But also, I think Zombie just said that, right? So I also agree, though, what Zombie was saying is you're recruiting people. You don't want to kill Zerg so much to where them recruiting people doesn't matter, or they're trying to circumvent the system so bad that they're still finding a way to make Zergs happen, because they will. So if you put hard limitations on there, then these guilds are just going to find ways to circumvent that system hard. It's almost like the tax system, right? We keep trying to we want to make these players, though, fit within these bounds to make sure they're not abusing other people and Zergs. But the more we punish that, then the more they're going to find ways to circumvent that system. So I don't like Zergs, but I would like to see more how things play out on that. I guess I don't have a strong opinion on it yet.
Very fair. All right, Orphan.
Honestly, I really don't think there can be any specific anti-Zerg mechanics. It'll never not be beneficial to just bring more homies than the enemy. The only thing Intrepid can actually do to push the pendulum in the other direction, to even attempt to stop large swarms of like mindless monkey players just rolling over you, is to implement ways that smaller groups can Zerg bust, so to speak, with specific class abilities and skillful gameplay. Or by restricting the number of people at an event, either by really hard means like siege player caps or instance areas, or by soft means like the guild skill trees that provide significant PvP benefits to guilds who, instead of spamming the Size Queen perk and maxing out their player cap, choose instead to take all the PvP buffs instead. This, however, doesn't stop things like Amnesty 123, Aura 123, Polar 123 from just guild decking you in the open world. It just makes it more expensive and resource intensive to do so, but so far we've seen that only really works in the early game when the war scroll cost is actually a factor and the guild coffers aren't just packed with like 1,000 gold ready to go.
Yeah. Very fair. Hansen.
Yeah, I guess to, I don't know, kind of counter that. It may be an unpopular opinion, but maybe if you are in an active war deck, you can't be decked by anybody else. That could be some soft Zerg protection, so it's only guild v guild. And maybe the larger events are at sieges, where there's a home for very large engagement, 250 v 250 as they want at sieges. And then smaller things like guild capped, if they want maybe smaller engagements that aren't like Zergy, guild decks are only between two guilds. Like you can't third party in or whatever, but that's not in. But it could be a thing that they implement as anti-Zerg. Or like you said, instance areas are the only other way to stop it. Albion had like gates, like you'd be killing mobs and a gate would open and only 5 people could go through the gate, and then a gate would open somewhere else and 5 other people would go in, and as you're clearing the content you will clash at some point with the other team of equal size. So I don't know, there could be things like that where at the end of these gates there was a significant reward and resources and stuff. So that could be an interesting thing they could implement. But yeah, so far in the game, as it exists right now, there's not a lot going on for anti-Zerg activity.
Sure. Addo.
So I personally agree with Orphan. I think that there are some things that you cannot really change, especially when in the context of open world PvP games. I think that Intrepid, instead of focusing on making these big objectives like war bosses or shit like that with anti-Zerg mechanics, they should tailor and design some content that is valuable also for people who don't like being a part of a big guild. Because personally, I think that this objective should be contested by the guilds who put more numbers and more effort. Like, I don't think that a 10-man guild who, I don't know, maybe they're crafters, maybe they play the game, maybe they don't, should be competitive in a world boss scenario. Like, it should be something that it's hard to achieve, and not everybody has the chance to achieve it. But this doesn't mean that this category of players should be ignored, 100% not. And as people already said, this is like where the game is actually gonna thrive or die, if these people are gonna have content which is tailored to them and will be able to make them feel impactful and meaningful, also in this scenario of big guilds contesting each other for these big objectives. Yeah.
Very fair. All right, we're gonna go ahead and go on to the next question. Helios Black asks, why do you think there is a stigma from some in the community around killing caravans and boats, and how do you respond to those people? And we're gonna start off with that. Yeah, Zombie.
Yeah. So, I'm in the camp of like, I don't really bother people that don't bother me when it comes to those interactions with caravans, typically when I'm alone. Because I'm not chopping through a caravan by myself in enough time for it to really matter. Especially in those early phases, people are just doing like some routes or whatever to make a little bit of gold, and there's not really worth. And then as you kind of go progressing in the phase, everyone has either so much gold or they have so much already that there's no real point to attack a caravan. Spend the time on it, go grab your own caravan for that stuff. So I see there's a stigma kind of where people are just like, oh, why are you attacking my van? It's just me or just one person. Some people just want the PvP. I mean, I've been guilty of like seeing a van, just killing the driver and then just continue on about my day, right? Seeing if there is any PvP there. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I don't know. Like I'm all for like getting the PvP where you can and doing what you want to do. Running that caravan opens you up to the possibility of PvP, and you have to be expecting it. So you can't complain when you get PvP. Diminishing returns on routes that we're seeing in the future will make people have to be a little bit more dynamic with their routes and go places that they're not comfortable with or that maybe a hostile guild controls, which is fine. Again, if you're doing the event, you should have either protection if you're running something actually valuable, or you kind of just accept that risk that, hey, I'm running 40 gold worth of stuff from here to here, and I'm hoping for 120 gold payout. Either I get some protection, like I hire suspect, or maybe I just have some guildies come out with me, or I take a non-dangerous route. I mean, who knows, right? But you have to always be expecting that PvP anyways, and you kind of have to be ready for it. So you can't really, if you get yourself killed, like, oh well, like it's part of the game,
Yeah.
Get better, I guess.
Skill issue, as they say.
Yeah.
V-Man.
What was that? It was me, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so all right, so Simon, don't worry, we'll get the contracts over to you. We'll get that handled soon. Or I'll just follow wherever you go and then send contracts to all the people you kill, so to the hirers. No. Man, people have to understand this game is built off risk versus reward. It's something we haven't. The whole game dynamic is risk versus reward. So if you want a higher reward in a game like Ashes, there is going to be an equal level risk, or should be an equal level risk tied to that. And I think that's really important to an old school type mentality of games that we've kind of lost over the years, and we need to bring back risk versus reward. I can't say that enough. Every time I think of Ashes, and what really got me into this game is the risk versus reward. That's what really just motivated me and made me so desirable to want to play this game, is because we're bringing that back again. And we need to, like, if I'm going a caravan and I'm going to get a lot of money out of it, that's the reward, right? But the risk is I could lose it all. And if I want to protect my assets, it's almost kind of like a sandbox. So I can, like you said, hire a mercenary guild, like Suspect, but there's plenty of mercenary guilds out there. Find, or players even, that are willing to do that. Hire them and get them to protect you on your route. You're cutting into your profits, but you're securing safety. It's a risk versus reward. Do you want a higher reward payout and try to play out solo? Okay, well, the game's not meant to be solo. We're playing an MMO. And I think over the years, we've lost what an MMO actually means. Massive multiplayer online. Not multiplayer online, massive multiplayer online RPG. And that's really important. So kind of like I think some of our leaders say is as mercenaries are kind of like insurance policies, but hiring people in the game to help protect you is a thing. I understand the stigma behind it, guys, but we have to realize that it's a PvX game, so there's going to be PvP, PvE. If you don't want the higher reward and you want the lower reward or medium reward, then stick with your low risk or medium risk outputs, and that's what you're going to get. But if you want to take that higher risk, well, you're playing an MMO, guys. You gotta get with a guild that's going to help protect you, that's going to fight alongside you, come to your aid and help you. We are playing an MMO, not an RPG game, an MMORPG. So you gotta find friends and find people you like playing with. That's just how it is. And so people shouldn't be wanting to. You could play the game solo, sure, but you're not going to unlock all the potential in the game. You got to find people you enjoy playing with. We're all nerds, guys. We're all introverts. We're all gamers. But we got to find other introvert gamers like us that we get along with, that we have fun with. And I'm excited to run into people that don't like the PvP side, because they can hire people like me, or they can become friends with people like me. I love taking PvEers and crafters in our guild. I love it. I love bringing in PvPers, but we have a lot of them too. I love bringing in crafters because crafters, I have a buddy in our guild that he always wants to do is gather and craft. Cool. I'll come by and protect him anytime someone tries to pick on him, you know? But yeah, I'm excited for that month. Zombie.
Very fair. Orphan?
Honestly, this has already been covered, but like keeping it 100, skill issue. The game is entirely focused around, as V-Man said, risk versus reward. The risk of running a caravan, someone can kill you and take your shit. The reward, if you complete the caravan, either without being ganked or fighting off the gank, is the money or resources you gain from doing it. People have complained so hard about getting killed in the open world that they've added a ghetto caravan system where you can just slap a pack on your back and just go deliver it on your mount. You're not in the caravan PvP system. If someone wants to kill you for that caravan, you need to willingly walk into a lawless zone, or they need to go corrupted to do it. And with the current corruption system, that's not happening. No one's killing you for a single pack. So if you're scared of being PvP'd and you can't handle the smoke and you don't want to get out of the fire, just run the bad packs. Don't run a caravan instead. Just hop on your mount, run a bad pack. Like, it is what it is. Intrepid has entirely been upfront about this being a PvP-oriented game. If you thought it was just going to be like a Care Bear farming fest, where you just get to do whatever you want for free, there's no risk in anything you do, you only get PvP'd when you want to, it's either delusion or you don't know what kind of game this is. Like, sorry, that's a bit harsh, but that's the truth. It's always been this. It always has been this. Ever since Kickstarter, they've been super upfront about it, where you can be killed in the open world and you're going to have to deal with taking the L a couple times.
Yeah. Hansen.
Agreed with a lot of what's been said. You know, I don't know why there's a stigma. Caravanning, PvP event. You don't want to be PvP, don't drive a van. And now we have, you know, as Orphan said, Care Bear packs, I guess you could call them, where, you know, you're not flagged, you're not anything. Someone has to go red to remove your pack. Yeah, you move slower. Oh well. But diplomacy, you know, if you're not big enough, find friends. Like someone else mentioned, it's an MMO. Hire a merc, make allies, whatever you need to do, or find low traveled routes. There's answers to the problems. It can't just be the PvE players crying that they participated willingly in a PvP scenario and then getting mad about it. I don't know why there's a stigma. Like, just don't do the thing that makes you vulnerable if you don't want that. Like, you can sell your glint to the vendor. That's 100% safe. Zero risk, right? The reward, much lower, but that's your trade-off, right? Risk versus reward. Do you want the bigger payout? Do the risky thing, make some friends, get some protection, whatever you need to do. But like, I don't get why there is a stigma to killing vans. Like it's very kind of laid out for people. You know, this is a risky thing, and you can lose your stuff. Like that. Yeah, that's my take. You know.
Okay. Ada?
Well, there's not much I can add. They made all very good points. I mean, a PvP event is a PvP event, but there is something that I would like to say. Attacking Caravan has already received a massive nerfs, unless they change it back in the latest patches. But basically, what you used to be in Phase 2, you used to be able to spawn your own Caravan from anywhere in the world. I don't know, maybe you were attacking somebody, or maybe you need your Caravan there, and you would be able to just call your Caravan with a beacon. Now, you're not able to. Your beacon only works, I think it was 2 nodes of distance from where you are and when your Caravan is. So with the world being this big, you're not gonna be able to just, summon your Caravan and attack somebody else and take their loot. This was not their intended design, because I remember in the showcase, they clearly stated that you will be able to summon your Caravan, when they showcased all the Caravan system. And I actually asked Roshan about that, and he hit me with things during development change. This is the current iteration. Okay, fine, sure. So I guess the meta now will be just having Caravans scattered around the world, because you can just not use your own Caravan. You can just pimp your Caravan and use just that one. Fine. But with that and the addition of crates, I don't know, if you're still complaining about people attacking your Caravans, maybe the game is not for you.
Yeah, it's very fair. I mean, there's a whole separate argument on whether or not it feels balanced, the attacker versus defender thing, but I feel like there's a long way for the Caravans to go for it to feel good for both people involved. But yeah, very much fair. That's the risk of having a Caravan, is that you incorporate PvP. For me, I just ask that if you're not engaging in that system, like for example, if you don't queue up to attack, that you shouldn't be able to just take over the Caravan system, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do think there should be, you should have an incentive of joining as defender, because currently, why should you ever defend a Caravan from somebody else?
That's a big question that a lot of us have been asking. Yeah,
you should get something out of defending a Caravan. That's the
I think a lot of it has been you're part of a group and you agree to pay something out.
Yeah.
Outside of in-game mechanics to defenders.
But you have.
But that's an outside agreement. That's not guaranteed in-game. But it would be nice that they put something in-game for defenders to be rewarded, so that there might be a guaranteed reward if you roll up on someone's van. You
could even make it that sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, that being said, it doesn't even include the fact that a outsider of your guild would have any incentive on joining your Caravan, for example, because what are they getting out of it? They don't know you, for example.
Yeah. You could make it I don't know, you can tie it to citizenship, if you save a citizenship Caravan and you manage to land it, you get, I don't know, citizen points or whatever they're called now, or I don't know, reputation or whatever, it will be a way to incentive other people to not just attack a Caravan, especially when you see it's not worth it, why should I ever attack this? I don't know. I think there's a lot of ways. They just need to think about it.
Yeah. All right, so our last question here is from Tmugsy. And Tmugsy asks, should Intrepid make an effort to include raid versus raid tools to the kits of classes like Fighter and Rogue? If so, what tools? And this is a final reminder to all of our people watching. You have the duration of about 10 minutes to get us your questions before we close them down and I open up the poll. So with that, I'm going to switch it up and say, VMan, you go first, and we'll end with Zombie.
This is the only question I'm not prepared with.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I don't know if I even understand the question fully, which is still...
Do you want to pass and then go?
Yes, he just wanted to steal my answers.
I'm ready if you want me to go first.
Do you want to go first?
Yes.
Go
Zombie,
for it.
you go, Ursula.
All you.
Zombie or Hansen?
Oh, it's me. Okay, great, awesome. Hey, hello. How's it going? First time caller, long time listener. My thoughts on this, right? We kind of touched on it earlier, how like fighter, rogue, and things like that feel underpowered, and I think it's because they have a linear ability where it primarily focuses on their main archetype. Fighter being a melee type, all their abilities are kind of centered on that. Rogue being a melee archetype, kind of centered on that. I think changing it towards having those different kits or having those different abilities which augment the ability to play in those bigger scale fights is going to be great to add and augment, but we still haven't seen like how those archetypes kind of come into those and change that. Whereas like a fighter ranger does their bloodlust now, you know, root everyone in a circle around them because they have the roots from a ranger augment or something. So once we kind of see those subclasses brought into the game, it might fix and add those tools that the fighter and rogue are looking for. It might add that survivability and sustain that maybe like the rangers or the mages are looking for. So we have a lot to see on that. It would be nice when they kind of do not necessarily clash reworks, but add more to the trees. If we can see some of those abilities take a branching path, where like you have that option for a ranged engagement with the fighter, because like they get a bow ability, right? Like hey, or they get kind of like we talked about earlier, a surrounded buff like that maxes up to like 5 players. Like hey, 20% damage reduction when surrounded by 5 or more players. That gives the fighter more incentive to want to dive in on pushes and things like that, because they get a damage reduction as they're surrounded. They get low, they can pop their bloodlust, and then they can spin to win and potentially get out, because at the moment they feel a little weak and they're not needed as much. Rangers have a little bit more going on for them because they have the invisibility, they have some decent CC, and really good focal damage where, you know, they can survive in those bigger engagements, but again, they're not really as needed because it comes down to positioning and communication with those bigger fights. And the larger the fights you have, the more it comes down to communication and positioning than it does individual kits.
Yeah, that's very true.
A lot of kits. I'm trying to count how many words you said kits and the times you said kits. I'm just playing, but so I guess to take on to that, thank you for kind of opening up for me. So I guess I understand the question a little better. I'm gonna keep reverting back to, I know it's boring, but I want to see more in-game stuff before we start changing kits pretty heavily. But what Tim brought up earlier, he is enchanting my mind, or enchanting the stream with that thing he dropped, because I've been thinking about it since then when he said, I think fighters should maybe where we do something where fighters has some kind of like, what's that scaling thing with the more people around them in a certain range, enemies around you in a certain 15, 10, 20 meters or something like that, 30 meter range, it increases something, whether it's your CC resistance or your incoming damage is reduced, whatever it is, something that scales with the number of enemies around you in a certain radius. I think it's actually a really freaking cool idea that he thought of that on the spot, and that's probably the only thing that on my mind that I would like to see right now, and see how that plays out, because that would potentially prevent massive changes to the kits. I don't think rogues need updates to their I might be saying something controversial. It's getting me backstabbed by rogues in the middle of the out in the plains, the valleys out here, but I don't think rogues need a buff to group PvP. Like as a shot caller, I can utilize rogues really freaking well, and at least up to 20-40 man fights. Maybe when you're sitting at like 100 plus, when it's harder to see people on screen, they might start falling off. I don't know. I didn't play in 2.5 when there's probably some of that combat, but I think they definitely do way better than fighters in group PvP. I begged every fighter in my guild to switch to rogue for group PvP situations, because there's so much more you can utilize them better as a shot caller. But I mean, you could still utilize fighters in ways, but yeah, I would like to see potentially that scaling aspect when people are around you. I think that'd be really cool to see first before we start getting raid versus raid things. But I did mention earlier in the last time we brought this up, it'd be interesting to see fighters potentially have certain abilities that work better with other classes around them. More synergy.
Fair. All right, and that takes us to Orphan.
This is going to be super controversial, but honestly, I think those tools already exist within the kits, and it's the time to kill and mitigation problems that are really screwing these classes over in large-scale combat. Fighter, for example, already has a power boost, a speed boost, and a CC immunity status effect via using Berserk. And when you're berserking, you can sustain yourself in those 3 or 4 seconds that it lasts for by using Blood Fusion to keep your health bar up. And if you're solo diving a 40-man as a fighter, brother, what were you expecting? Of course you died instantly. Go with your homies. Go in with the bards, go in with the rogues, go in with the tanks who are absorbing the damage, throwing absorption fields, tossing protect on you. Like, the entire point of the class in large scale is to be the one that sends it. But obviously don't send it 1v40. Like, that is just a straight skill issue. If you're diving into 40 people, that's a monkey brain issue. That's not a class issue. However, I do think fighter and generally all classes could use a slight buff in their CC clear abilities by adding temporary immunity to crowd control after the clears are used. Because I know every single person in this call has used a crowd control ability on someone, they've cleared it, and then just go lol and just immediately CC you again. Like, the amount of times that I've popped Battlecry and just copped another sleep from a rogue, or copped another marionette, or copped another, like, just tank knockdown, it just feels frustrating, super frustrating, especially in large-scale combat when that happens to you. In terms of what a rogue can do for large-scale PvP fighting, it's always excelled at being a sideline picker who grabs that one little cleric who strays too far from the ball and away from their homies. They just instantly pop that person and lock them down. Or they dive in with the fighters, bards, and tanks, focusing on hard-locking clerics and bards down who are on the back line and not, like, getting help from their frontliners. While everyone else is distracted with the tanks, fighters, and bards who are up in their face, there's the rogue stabbing you in the bum. Like, that's their class identity. That's what they're supposed to do. If you're trying to dive in on the front line as a rogue and you're not using the tools of your kit, like Shadow Cascade to proc tons of damage on people, having poison procs with the what are they, caltrops throwing out, and then healing via sap, if you're not throwing smoke bombs for the evasion, you're just playing the class wrong.
Hansen?
Yo, shout out to all you guys for repeating my idea of augmenting abilities with a number of active players around you. I think that was Tim's. No, it was my idea.
Sorry.
I think, yeah, it's a super cool idea. I don't think it should be just straight buffs like damage reduction or CC reduction. I think it should augment some of your abilities in some way that gives you reward for risk, right? You know, back to that same argument, you know, if you're gonna go in, or, you know, like Orphan said, you know, play smarter, you know, play with your homies, right? But even so, if you're full crashing, that if you do have more risk around you by having more enemies around you, that maybe some of your abilities are augmented in some way that feels good and impactful, that you made a meaningful decision to be around more enemies and that you get this bonus because of that in some way. And, you know, I think, you know, Vman does have a point too, right? We haven't seen the rest of the game. We haven't seen secondary archetypes, so there's a lot more to come, and it may feel like a completely different game when we get there. So it is, you know, with a grain of salt, right? That, yeah, maybe stuff feels better. You have more agency with decisions in the future. Things will be different, right? We already know change is coming, so maybe we don't need them to change what we have because they're gonna change it with what's coming.
Yep.
And then, you know, it's just a cool idea if certain classes are missing certain things, that they get this augment of you know, and enter this risky scenario, get this augment on whatever skill because you're by more players. I think it's a really cool idea, and I hope they pick up on it.
Very fair. All right, Addo, rounding us out here. And before Addo goes, you guys have the last bit of Addo's answer to get your questions in, and I will be closing down the question submission.
Okay, yeah. So I think personally that, you know, to answer the question, it just comes back to class identity, you know. When I think about a fighter or a rogue, I think there are different scenarios in which they are very effective. Usually, when we're talking about large scale, a mage or a ranger, just because of the nature of the class, of course is gonna bring more value. No, I don't think they should make every class good in every situation. I think there should be situation in which your class is not that good. Like, for example, a mage maybe could not be as good as, I don't know, a rogue in a small scale scenario. Because then it's at this point that you can see good players, making that class work also in scenarios that it should not supposed to work, no? Because very good fighters, obviously I'm not saying that fighter doesn't need a rework, of course. I'm saying even if they rework it and they actually make it, enjoyable to play and strong, I think it shouldn't, be a monster in large scale. Same thing as Rogue. I think they should have their places where they excel. I don't think large scale is one of those places. But you definitely will want to have some good fighters, some good rogues, because they can excel on their class even in scenarios that are not supposed to be, and that's what makes you a good player, in my opinion.
I agree. And on top of that, with the class combinations, because we haven't even begun to look at secondaries, let alone this whole new skill tree revamp, who knows what the future might change in terms of what you're capable of doing within your own class. So I'm going to go ahead and close down the options for you to submit your questions and get that put up in the poll for you guys. I'm going to submit a new URL for you guys. But in the meantime, you guys are welcome in our summit here. Welcome to have the open discussion. Feel free to pick one of the topics that you just covered, or if there's a specific topic that you would like to go deeper on from earlier, you're also welcome to do that. So give me just a little bit and I'll give you guys in chat the updated poll. So see you in a second.
All right, shoot from the hip there, guys. Got about 10 minutes here just so we can save time for the viewer response poll after that gets done.
Yeah, I like. Oh, go ahead, dog.
No, go. That's all I was saying.
I was gonna say, I think we're all pretty in agreement with most of these topics. I don't think we kind of differ too much as far as our stances, but we come from that. We're PvPers mentality, and it often gets lost that we also have crackers and we also have people that don't always benefit from the PvP aspect of the game to keep in mind. So I think with a lot of these things that we're suggesting, we're changing are with those PvEers in mind, hopefully. And it's, you really just need to not play alone. You need to not play solo. The game's not really intended that way. And there's too many communities out there doing lots of great stuff for you to have to play alone. There's guilds that are casual, there's guilds that are hardcore, there's guilds that have somebody on all day and all night. So when it comes around to this, the whole anti-Zerg and then the stigma about caravans and stuff, it should really be a non-factor. There are already solutions, which is, community.
Be social in the social game? Yeah.
No.
No way.
I like that.
What? An MMO where I have to interact with people? There's no way.
I'm just here raid finder? You're kidding me, bro.
All right, a poll is up for you guys, and I'm giving it to you guys in your chat as well.
All right, hold on. Let me get the heals.
Oh my gosh.
What's your cat name? I still have that little ginger walking around.
Actually need 1 second as well.
They're both gingers, actually.
Yeah, I guess maybe to throw one at Orphan there from the earlier segment.
Ooh, yes.
The question of do we think the addition of not CCing non-combatants is a good change? Having lived so long with being able to CC non-combatants to steal resources, it seems like players are split. What's your take, Orphan?
Funnily enough, I wrote this question. My take is I never liked the original system where it was, I'm a green player, you can't CC me, you've got to full kill me. Because my original thought back in Kickstarter days was, what's to stop me from just mounting up and legging it anytime I don't feel like I'm gonna win the fight? How do you stop me from doing it, other than doing a significant amount of burst damage to my entire health bar and killing me instantly? or by anticipating I'm gonna mount up and saving your big burst abilities to then one-tap my mount instead, which then what stops me from just pulling out another one? There's no counterplay to, lol, I've got 50 mounts and a really good animal husbandry player kick rocks. Like, I never liked the system where you couldn't CC green players. I always thought it was bad, and it inherently necessitates trolling, especially in a PvE sense. Because I know if there's any Bard players in here, you can do a little bit of trolling in Forge where you just grab like 5 extra mobs, lead them onto the group that you're trying to screw with, and then just aggro drop. And then just by RNG chance, they will auto them, they'll AoE spam them, they'll grab aggro in some kind of way, or they'll just leash on top of them.
Well, anyone meleeing's gonna hit them and gain aggro, right?
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you
exactly.
just
You
drop
can't stop players from doing this anymore. Like, what's the counterplay to me doing a little trolling and screwing with somebody's Forge group until they just
And you're
leave?
saying the answer to that is, right, being able to CC them as non-combatants because they're trolling you, right? So then they die to the mobs. Yeah,
Yep.
I like,
So you just CC
I
them and they die
like
to the
that
mobs.
you can anti-troll by CCing people, but
Yeah,
There-
but
some
also they kind of
people-
talked about it.
yeah, we brought up the argument, right, that PvEers were getting trolled by PvPers by just getting chain CC'd, and if they can't fight back. But like, yeah, so there's two sides of the coin, right? Like, but I guess we've already also touched on it, right? Don't play the social game by yourself.
Well, not even just that though. Like they also talked about quote unquote mob training, and if somebody wants to be like that troll and the only way to counter them is CC, they've also talked about how they're going to adjust the aggression mechanics to where you can't really just train a set of mobs through people and expect them to hop off of you and onto everybody you're leading them through. You kind of have more responsibility with what you grab.
It was kind of exclusive to the Bard, right? Where they are the only class that has a threat reduction ability. So that if the only threat you have is proximity pulling a mob, which that's got to be relatively low, unless they raise that, and then you just walk it by someone else, and anyone with melee is cleaving automatically, and then you just use your aggro reduction ability, and then they're higher than you, it's done. But so I don't, unless leashing is gonna be very punitive in the amount of aggro it gives you, that it offsets that of the ability of Bard to reduce aggro, or they just take that from Bard, I don't see them fixing it. Unless you guys see another way.
I really can't see a way to fix this kind of griefing issue without the ability to CC people who are doing it and screw with them and feed them to the mobs. You can't do shit about it.
I don't think they particularly want to fix it. Like Steven himself said, that training mobs is not against TOS. It's like a mechanic of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you also could have a Bard with the ability to reduce your threat too if you're getting trained on. So I mean, yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
I don't mind
fine
griefing being a mechanic. I just don't like there being no counterplay griefing being a mechanic.
Yeah,
I'm fine with you mob training me. Just give me,
Well, and then when Forge is a lawless zone and he can't train on you because he's flagged and you've killed him before he trains on you, then there you go.
I do like the intermittent.
Who knows?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, for all the people worried about griefing, there's no griefing in lawless zones.
Yeah, good
Right.
luck, bro.
Yeah, good luck. It's on like Donkey Kong and Lawless.
Yeah.
Good luck getting through the entrance.
So, just so I can make sure, your a stance on this no CCing, you're not really a fan of it for a non-combatant.
It takes away our answer to the mob train situation, right? Like if they think it's okay to do that, our answer to it is CCing a non-combatant, which they have right now, NPTR taken that away, and we think it's relatively negative because that's our answer to the mob train issue.
If someone's a griefer, you have to find a way to counter the griefer. Just like saying, like, okay, if someone's a griefer, you're gonna always have griefers, but you have to find a way to counter the griefers within the mechanics of the game. That's why the corruption system being so rough right now is rough, because you can't just kill them. You can't get rid of these, jerks essentially that are ruining the game for everyone. There needs to be a way to counter.
See, for me as a non-PvPer, I kind of view it as like a cop-out almost, because instead of flagging up to tell me that you want to fight me over this flower, for example, you're just going to CC me so I can't pick the flower. But I will say, you know, trying to CC somebody who tried to mob train on us so that way the mobs get them, that would be Vertex #1 reason for not being a fan of it. But in general, not being able to just go up and yoink somebody just for the lulz, I'm okay with it, but I understand where you're coming from for PvP perspective. It's very important for me to hear that, because I
also
don't think like that.
100% understand the open world problem of I can CC white players, because I do this all the time. I'm a little rat griefer at heart. If I see a level 5 picking mining a ruby or picking a flower, I will walk up, I will flag up, I will knock them out, and I will take the flower. I don't want the flower, I'm just doing it to screw with them.
Yeah, maybe even
and if they flag up and fight me, I win.
Yeah, maybe
like
even
I don't care if
CC
it's
amount on lower levels.
I mean, you just make the CC last to 50% less duration against white players. So you absolutely still can crowd control them. You just can't hit them with a 10-second go to sleep. I'm taking your rock now.
Fair.
Yeah, maybe there is a happy ground where CC versus non-combatants is, you know, reduced duration. So that the griefing in open world is kind of solved a little bit, and then, you know, you still have viable options versus the mob trainers.
Well, yeah, you got to figure even the mob trainers though. They've stated that that's not a thing Intrepid wants to support, so they're going to actively make mechanics against it. And currently, the only one to get around it is going to be Bard, and a Bard you can still drop a wall in front of them. So, in theory, that's a very, very, very niche situation versus all the other stuff.
Yeah. Sorry. North just came in with all caps. CC reduction is very smart. That's very smart. Write that down. Holy.
I've always thought that though, because the problem when you're open world, because I said this earlier, I know we're about to move on, but open world PvP has always happened when you had someone CC one of your people gathering mats. But the problem is it's always your low levels getting picked on, which is the most annoying, because you don't want your low levels getting picked on. So maybe if the lower level, or if they're white, like you said, there needs to be a CC reduction, or maybe the first hit that you hit someone that is white and you flag up and hit them, that first hit needs to be lower damage.
Okay.
It allows them to retaliate better.
Yeah.
I mean, again, as long as you can fight for resources, yeah, for sure. Like, I think most of the PvPers don't want to go following around level 10 players and just keep CCing them, no? Like, this is not what a good PvP player in a hardcore guild does all day.
You know, if they do go with, like, the, you know, CC reduction, it could be scaled with level diff, you know?
That's what I'm saying,
then you can't grief level gaps, right?
Correct.
And you're more fighting people your level, right? Where, you know, maybe if it's greater than 8 levels, it's all the way reduced to immunity. That could be a thing.
Yeah, I'd be fine with not being able to CC like a level 5 or a level 10 who's just picking a flower. Because, like, honestly, that's an unfair power dynamic that I understand why they removed CCing from unflagged combatant like targets, is because of that system where some random just picked up the game yesterday, won a key off Instagram type guy logs in and I knock him out and take his ruby. That was the reason that system was implemented, because people like me.
I literally had a guildie that would just, his glee was running up to somebody and sleeping them just because he could. He didn't even want the tree. He just slept them because they almost got the tree.
Someone typed that out in chat to me one time when I was mining something just to build my mining skill. I didn't really care about what it was, but they slept me, run over, mined it away. And I just stood there and watched them like, okay. Whatever, man. It was a basalt, really? And they actually typed out in chat, I was just hoping you were going to fight back. That's all. I don't want this. I'll trade it to you.
Yeah, a lot of us are just bored, bro. Keeping it real.
Fair.
There's also targeted denial of, I hate X Guild. All our members go to those X Guild people and follow them. And any resource they want is denied. Like, so there can be some dynamic somewhere of where it's not griefing versus there is contention over resources. I think we've hit the two polar ends right now, and I think a middle ground is kind of the answer.
Yeah.
I like that Intrepid is constantly going through iterations with things, though. I'm really curious to see where everything lands, because again, like, they are a PvX game, and they want there to be a balance of sorts. They don't want it to be PvP heavy, but I mean, it's an open world game. You know, it's not just it's not like I don't know. I can't think of a game. I guess Final Fantasy, which doesn't really have any PvP in it, except for in certain cases. So we're going to move on to your questions from the audience. So our first question, actually 2 of our questions come from Dolyem. The first question from Dolyem is, which guilds are you betting will exploit this phase? This is a bit of a loaded question.
It is.
So whoever wants to take it, go for it. People spoke.
All of them, brother. All of them. Exploit early, exploit often. Every single one of them. If they think they can gain an advantage and get away with it, they're doing it. Keeping it real, every single person is gonna do this.
We're not exploiting, we're alpha testing. I'm getting
alpha testing, yeah.
Some guilds do have honor, and some have much less honor.
My bet 100%, because they're in the chat and I can't verify.
We need to point
else.
fingers.
It's gonna be Aura. It's
Dolyem
gonna be
is
Aura.
saying, I need names. None of that cop-out crap.
It's gonna be Aura. They're gonna find a way to like bug the system to have like 2 tier 4s right next to each other in the same vassal node, and you know they're just gonna abuse it. You know, and they're just gonna have 29, 48 plots to themselves.
Keeping it entirely real, we have entirely discovered that abusing 2 level 4 nodes, and we're doing it.
Yeah. Yep.
Strix and I are trying to build a target list.
Yeah.
What? Let's pick a dead guild. Nova Ordum is going to be the biggest exploiters next stage. You heard it here first. Nova Ordum is going to be the biggest ones.
Oh my gosh.
If I need to call out a specific guild, you want me to name some names? The only one that I can give with any sort of actual justification and isn't just tinfoil polar. Like, sorry, but, you know, your GM got reset like 4 times the past 6 months. Like, you're gonna do it, we're all gonna do it, but you guys are gonna cop the most flack for it because you're the most known, and it's very obvious when Tmugsy goes back to a level 1 ranger that he's copped an L.
Damn.
Yeah, suspect. We're definitely against exploiting. That's something we'll even ban kick out of our guild for. But we are definitely for figuring out things and then reporting them. Actual exploits. If you find them out, make sure reporting, because that's the point of alpha testing, right? Is to make the game better so we can quickly get to launch. We do know there's going to be guilds that are holding exploits internally, and then they're going to use those exploits when beta hits or the release hits of the game, which is, you know, it's going to happen. There's guilds that are going to do that. There's players that are going to do that. But for suspect stance, we definitely will kick people out of our guild for exploiting. But we do promote figuring out bugs and then quickly identifying those to the devs so we can get those fixed.
The allegations are flying in the chat. Oh my goodness.
Overlord is kicking exploiters, so, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure those that are up to date with drama, no, we have kicked people before. So, yeah, we are hard against exploiting. We do report bugs, but we don't exploit them.
Oh my gosh. Dolyem wants your answer. He's not settling for the suspect's not an exploiting guild. You're on mute though, so I want to let you know.
I said, "Oh man, so Dolyem's really throwing me out there, huh, to the wolves." Suspect
He's out for blood, I'm telling you.
I know, dude. Suspect attacking suspect. Where's our get Psycho in here? Psycho, get here, defend me. I don't know, honestly. Like, I might. I know there's people even in my own guild that may leave. You know, we think like it's easy to say, okay, you see one person doing something, you're like, oh, that whole guild does that. I'm probably one of my guild like, hold on. Did one person do that to you in that guild, or did the whole guild do that to you? I'm a big believer in that. Before putting, you know, certain guilds on KOS, even is like, hold on, was that them or was it the guild that did that? So I believe there's going to be players exploiting, and I think we all, know some players that may have exploited and stuff. I know I've heard Polar exploiting in the past. I don't know if they've kicked their people or not. I've been too much out of the loop, guys, to give an accurate answer on that. But we know a lot of these people that have been kicked are going to be remaking accounts and getting a guild somewhere. What we do know is all the exploiting will come from bigger Zerg guilds, and it's not something they can protect from because of their recruiting tactics. They will find people like that. With Suspect, we have a very personalized recruiting, which allows us to grow at the rate we're growing, which is steady. We're not just taking anyone and everyone. We're taking the people that click best within the guild. That helps us sort those people out in the front end. Not going to stop them all, but it helps us sort that out. And I think the way that Zerg guilds have is they're going to have exploiters because the way they have mass recruiting. It's just going to happen. So if you want my answers, any Zerg guild that's out there, any big Zerg guild.
Yeah, sorry, chat. You guys are funny.
It's not even just the Zerg guilds though that are going to be doing it. Like
Envious.
Find me like
Envious. There you go. Envious. We'll throw Envious out there.
DA's exploiting the trust of his guild members.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
All right.
Finding dead guilds, dude.
You have one answer?
Oh, I was gonna say, I think the bad press that people get towards their guilds about exploiters kind of causes them to have a reaction majority of the time, because you don't want that sticking with you. It's like, hey, Polar is exploiters because everyone in Polar exploits. Well, it's like, no, Polar gets labeled exploiters because one or two do this and nothing happens, or people don't see the results of that. So it's just nobody exploit and we'll be good.
When your players are out repping your name, people are gonna associate that with how your guild is represented. So if you don't have a public hard stance against it and someone brings it to your attention that X player engaged in exploitive activity and you don't remove them, they're just going to associate that with your entire guild because you didn't take action against it. So
absolutely. And all it takes is one interaction with that person for that opinion to be formed.
Correct. That's exactly it. And that's why I'm a believer of, maybe it's because I'm in business, is like, if one person does something from a guild, like, I don't see the whole guild that way. I think 99% of players are that way. And I even say that in my own guild, like, hey guys, just because one person does something doesn't mean that whole guild's that way. That's just how I believed in all of life while gaming as well. But you have to remember, as a leader of one of my leaders in our guild, what one of my team members does could positively or negatively impact Suspect's name, and I'm going to take that very seriously. There's a reason we haven't we don't shit talk. We don't talk. What is it? Yeah, shit talk, I guess, to other guilds, or trash talk is what I was trying to say. Excuse me. That's a big thing with our guild too. It's just what you do will impact your own guild positively.
Where do you draw the line between banter and trash talk?
Yeah.
Oh, banter's fun. If you have a good relationship with the guild, like guilds we've PvP'd with, that we've had great scrims with, we banter all the time because we're having fun. Both sides know it. But if there's obviously a very hostile rivalry between the two, between our guild and another guild, we don't want to have that trash talking getting out, because all it takes is a quick screenshot and then quick little edits to remove what the guild said to us, and then only show our responses, making our guild look like not good in the spotlight. So we live in the 21st century. AI is a thing, and so is editing.
Very fair.
What do you guys think about intrepid politics on not having, a kind of wall of shame for cheaters? They don't kind of want to make their name known to the community. Do you guys think it's a good approach? Would you guys rather see?
Shine the light of shame on them.
Yeah, I personally agree with the wall of shame.
Yeah,
get them up though.
Yeah, I think a wall of shame would actually be so fun. Like, it's so much content.
So my follow-up to that then is, if you want the wall of shame, do you think that having the wall of shame, because Steven mentioned specifically the reason why he doesn't want that is he's worried about people, doing the whole torches and mobbing and things after those people. Do you think that that's actually a thing that people would do then? Because
most definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely. But that happens no matter what.
Yeah.
People, I don't know.
Might happen, yeah.
Are people not satiated that they see that they've received the adequate punishment? Like they were gonna take it further? I don't know. I think that's a hot take. Like you exploited, you were banned, punishment received. Why do we need to pitchfork them? I don't.
Yeah.
Why?
Not only does the wall of shame discourage people, but on the opposite end, some people might take it as a badge of honor. Like, hey guys, look, my name's on the wall.
Yeah.
But look, people aren't gonna be really scared of the banhammer till it swings on like an Avatar of the Phoenix Kickstarter. Once that thing swings on like a 10k backer, then everyone's gonna be like, oh shit, better not risk my account. Once one of those people cops a permaban, then people are gonna be a lot less risky with the exploiting. Once you're actually banning like the real OG players, the super expensive accounts, like the lifetime subs, the heroes of the people, once those people start getting banned for doing exploits, then yeah, people are going to calm down with it. But when the only people getting actually permabanned are like Chinese speed hackers who are zooming around the map at Mark 50 clearing dungeons on a $100 key they bought yesterday afternoon, when that's the only guy getting permabanned and everyone else is just copping a cheeky reset here or there, nobody really is scared of the banhammer yet, and I think Intrepid needs to start swinging with it.
Very fair.
That's fair, yeah.
All right, if you guys don't have any more to put on this one, because I loved the open conversation, so I wasn't about to stop you. We have another question from Dolyem, which is kind of a theory crafting question, if you will.
Oh man.
So Dolyem asks, what do you want summoners to contribute in large-scale PvP? Open mic, so whoever wants to take it.
Oh, I love that one. I think that's a great offer. I want to throw myself in the fat first. I think summoners are going to be really important to shot callers. I'll leave it at that and let someone else go.
I guess just to theory craft a bit, I'd like to see some group mechanic, right? Like you have 5 summoners, you can summon something extravagant and impactful, but you know, they may have to channel for 5 seconds. So there's counterplay, like you could stop them or whatever, but it'd be cool that like there's some dynamic between like a group of players that could do something special because you have, you know, X players working towards some goal. I don't know, whether you...
That actually is an intended mechanic. Back when Summoner was originally theory crafted by the developers, it was 8 summoners who got together in the same party, could channel for X amount of time, and summon a siege golem. Now, every single class was supposed to have these effects where like 8 tanks join together, they make a really big wall, or 8 fighters get together, everyone gets the blood fusion lifesteal. Like, these were always intended mechanics, but Intrepid's kind of wound it back, so only summoners get to do this now. So that's one thing that they can do in large-scale PvP. Another thing is swarms. I want summoners to be able to summon like 10 little fucking gremlins that like... If a bunch of summoners are all spamming them towards you, you now are tab targeting just a gremlin every single time. Like, you can't target the enemy, you're just getting swarmed with little creatures around your ankles, and you gotta deal with them.
No, please. Like, this is exactly what I don't want to see, like, you know, 20 people and 30 summons and just tab everything I tab is a summon. Like, I would, like, they can do whatever they want with summoner, I'm not sure what they're gonna do.
I just hope if they do that, dynamic gridding can handle it and we're not playing a slideshow because of toxic.
If it's an FPS killer, then it's obviously a no, but
I think the current design is you can only have 1 summon at a time. I'm not sure, I might be wrong.
3 if you take summoner secondary archetype. If you are just a base summoner, you can only have 1.
Yeah. I mean,
so for now it's only 1 summon per summoner, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope they keep it that way, honestly. But
I mean, what I'd like to see, I mean, for the people that have played like Final Fantasy, like I'd like Summoner to kind of be like a blue mage where it has different specs for like if it wants to be a main tank, a main DPS, or a main healer based off your summon, and kind of have different trees. So that way we have a little bit of versatility and options where it's like you don't need a tank in the group or whatever tank gets renamed to because you have a summoner that's like full tank spec. or you don't have a cleric, okay, the summoner can go like full heals, and just have a little bit of versatility with group dynamics. So it's like having a summoner is good because they can kind of adjust and change to what the party needs, as opposed to just being another magic support, right? Well, instead of just being a magic support, it could be a magic tank, or it could be a magic DPS, or magic healer, something like that would be nice.
Yeah. So I wanted to hear from you all to say, but to add what I was saying originally, I think honestly a summoner potentially, if it is played out as a summoner should be, there should be a level of passive play that you can do with a summoner. A level of passive play. Here are my keywords. What I mean by that is I think a summoner can be great for a shot caller, because if you're a real shot caller, a really good shot caller doing macro, you're more macro strategy when you're in bigger fights, you're more micro strategy in your 12 or less, 12v12 or less fights. But you're above, you're doing more macro. At that point, you need to make sure you're not focusing on using your own abilities. You're more focused on what's controlling around the fight. And so I want to be able to have, potentially I would have to be a summoner for the key aspect of having some passive abilities, which is maybe some summons to protect me or to do some damage, just some minor stuff, because me doing 10% of something passively or 0% is at least still something in the grand scheme of things. So I hope I might have to play summoner just for the aspect that there should be a level of passive play. And I love the idea of summoner needs to be a summoner, not just one mob like you were saying earlier, just one mob I have. I want to have like 10 or 5, but if I have 10 of them, then it needs to be like some kind of weakening mechanism for the more that I have. Yeah, you got to weaken them. Let's kind of scale it by weakening them, or maybe there's some type of nerf while I have them. Like let's say I want to do like a super powerful summoner, maybe 10 or 20 little summons, but I have to stand still while they're active, like some kind of negative trait, risk versus reward. So literally what the game is based off of. So so maybe if there's a way, like if I can have 10, that's really cool. You feel like you're having really fun being a summoner. Maybe you have these 10 summons, but maybe that nerf is you have to stand still, you can't move, or maybe your resistance is dropped by 50%. Some other kind of trade-off. I like the idea of trade-off. For instance, I love glass cannons like a mage. I wish there's a way I could sacrifice my HP as a mage, but do more damage. Like some kind of blood steal from my own HP to do more damage. I think those metrics in games are cool because it offers more risk versus reward and a different gameplay in certain environments or instances.
I think the number one thing we haven't seen so far is we've seen group CC from things like Cleric's Divine Flare and like Fighter's Cataclysm. We've seen large AoE, Ranger's Vinefields. We've seen large AoE dots, which Summoner will be providing a little bit of from the leaked skill kit anyway. But we haven't seen group movement abilities. I would like to see some sort of mass teleport from Summoner where they channel for a second or two and all of their homies go with them like a Mage Blink. So it would make dive Zerg v Zerg comps actually viable. Instead of forcing all of your divers to use a movement ability, everyone stack on the summoner, 3, 2, 1, teleport, and suddenly you're in the enemy's ball. Yeah, pretty much. Like just a group mass telly where you all just send it forwards. Like there is the risk of, oh no, I've just sent it into a ball who knows what's coming and I'm all dead. But there's also the reward of, oh shit, they didn't predict that, now we kill them all.
Just to clarify, you're referring to like short distance teleportation, not like across the map.
Like a Mage Blink. No, not across them. I think they need to completely gut the idea of like, Mage, just summon me a portal to Orgrimmar real quick. That needs to not be a thing in Ashes. That's bad.
Very
It'd be cool though, if you got like 10
full-scale Mage Blinks with the
no WoW Warlock closets, please. Or none of that bullshit.
What do you guys think about the family system and being able to TP, to summon?
Oh, bro, family summons are scuffed right now. It's like a 30-minute cooldown to summon an entire family across the map. Like, what are you smoking, Steven?
I think they address it but I don't know. I think that it shouldn't be a thing, honestly. But I guess we will see how they implement it.
I don't mind the family summon. Give that shit like a 24-hour minimum cooldown. I just looked it up. 30 seconds to a minute cast time with a 30-minute cooldown where you can summon 8 players across the entire map. Like, are you kidding me? That's not okay.
I think if they want to do anything with family, maybe each family member could go home once a day.
Yeah, like a Hearth point. I wouldn't be super cut about a Hearthstone. but being able to teleport to a location of your choosing is nah.
No, that's sus.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
As hell.
Maybe a guild Hearthstone, you know, it teleports you to the node.
Yeah,
when-
teleport to the guild house, tele to your home citizen node once you've ground up enough reputation. Like, it can't be free, obviously. There needs to be a very long cooldown to it, and maybe a resource cost or two. But you can't have it just, yeah, I'm gonna log into my alt character real quick and summon us all to go kill Kraken.
You have activities that you're supposed to do on your freehold, right? So like I think going home so you could do your activities on your freehold, that's fine. And it's not like you're repositioning players throughout the world wherever you'd like. You specifically have to go to your own freehold. Yeah.
I want to throw in there, I know we're moved on, but I was thinking, how cool would it be if, like, you got 10 summoners together and you can summon one mega boss?
Yeah,
I don't know, I was thinking
that's
really
a feature.
Yes, I know you brought that up like a few years ago. I hope they keep to that, like 5 or 10 summoners, 8 summoners together, and you send this mega, like, but you have to protect them for like 5 minutes, so the front raid is protecting these summoners in the back while they're summoning, and like the enemy team can see it happening. That'd be so cool. You see this massive summon coming up in the back.
Put an icon on
we
the
gotta
map
kill
so
them.
people know it's going down.
Yes. Yeah. You're like, we need rogues to the back line now to stop that summon, you know?
Would it be an open world thing or like siege only, you think?
That'd be like a siege thing. Like, you could do it in the open world, but if you're standing there AFK for 5 minutes channeling the golem to kill Firebrand, what are you doing, bro? Go join the fight. Like, that's more of a siege thing.
Yeah.
Very fair. Well, thank you guys so much. We're at the last part of our segment for this, for session 1. So we'll spend the next 15-ish minutes letting you guys go and do your outros, whatever you want people to take away, find you, etc. I'll be pushing out the guests document here in just a second, but you know what, Zombie, since we're gonna go in reverse order, why don't you go ahead, remind everybody who you are, where you're from, and any plugs that you want to share.
Yeah, so hello, I'm Zombie. I am from Cats with Abs Guild. I represent that. Some of you may know Cats with Abs from the Dusty Y community. It is the community guild started by Dusty Y, but we've evolved into a competitive PvP, PvX type guild that's looking to do those content. We're still working, we're not quite at the sweaty level yet, but we're working to get there. If anybody's guildless and interested, obviously, we take in players of all skill levels for any PV or PvX content. You can find us at discord.gg/catswithabs. Ideally, if you wanted to see me or hang out with me anywhere, I do stream Ashes occasionally over on my channel, and that's just ZombieTheory. So you're more than welcome to come there and bully me about questions that you have. Aside from that, I really appreciate you guys having us on, and Cats may be smaller in the overall PvP community as a whole, but we're looking to be good pillars of the community come P3. Big goals, big aspirations, and big plans.
Very
Thank you.
Love it.
All right. I think it's VMan next.
Yes, sorry. Okay. Hey guys, VMan. So I am a PvP shot caller. I guess plugs. Psycho said I couldn't bring this out, but plug is our Discord. Suspect is a mercenary guild, and I believe that I'm hoping Ashes can be a good spot for mercenary guilds to come back, like old-fashioned MMOs, to really have them be there to help support other smaller and mid-sized guilds, or either big guilds versus big guild fight. We might not be the ones that control the server, but we definitely want to be ones that can be the tipping balance of server affairs. I mean, yeah, I don't stream anymore. I know we do have some streamers in our guild, but really we're just trying to be a kind of a semi-hardcore guild. We're not a hardcore guild. There's definitely quite a bit of us that are hardcore and quite a bit of us that are sweaty, but I would say we're more on the semi-hardcore side, which allows us to bring in people that want to be active to the game, but we don't have any requirements. We're old. A lot of us are old gamers. We can't be dedicating this as a full-time job. So we're here to have fun and enjoy things, but strategize and work together to be a strong bat of core players. We might not have abs, but we got 1-packs, and we're good at being a pack, 1-pack together. But yeah, we're just a mercenary guild suspect. So if you ever need help doing things and accomplishing things in the games, we're there to be a contract for y'all.
Very fair. Orphan?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Let me whisper in your ear. AmnestyGuild.net. You're an OCE player. You are a PvPer. You're a PvEer. You're a role player. You're a professional auto hotkey bot, and you smack rocks for 12 hours a day. Come join. You know, it is what it is. Honestly, I'm not the best person to be doing this. This should have been a Tim question. I'm just a shot caller and a PvP rat, keeping it real.
To be fair, both of you had to do it, so.
Yeah, look, you want to come join? You're an OCE player. Alright, I gotta keep this PG-13. Yeah, discord.gg.amnesty. Like, come around. I don't know what to say here. That's won't get me banned.
It's good enough. Hansen.
Hey, HansenTheRed. Bard aficionado representing Overlord. We're a dual guild, combat and economic, PvP, PvE, PvX. We're tailored a little bit more on the hardcore side, and looking for high dedicated players who want to excel. Go for some server firsts when game goes live. So that's our goal, and we're striving towards that, building a community towards that, and looking for like-minded individuals.
Okay.
Discord.gg/AOC Overlord is where you can find us.
And all these links will be in the description as well. Ado?
Yeah, so I'm from Cartel. We are a European hardcore PvP guild. We are always looking for hardcore players for Phase 3 and beyond. We won the European 8v8 tournament. We won the NA 8v8 tournament. And you can apply at join.cartelguild.com.
Very nice. And for those of you that are hanging out with us in the Discord, or not Discord, sorry, in the chat, this is just our first part. We have a part 2 coming up with a whole new cast of people, including people from both Aura and Polar and Delirium. So, keep your eye out and come join us in the chat, especially those of you, if you have any time that are currently in VC with us. If you have any time you want to add questions for them to answer, would love to see it. But Vertec, I'll let you go ahead and do our outro while we go on a break. We're not ending, well, we might end the stream, at least for those of you on YouTube. We're going to start up the next one after this, but we'll be here. It's just so we can change the YouTube video. But go ahead, Vertec.
Yeah. So, definitely hang out. Join us after the fact. We are, again, just taking a quick 15. That was last time. Taking about 45 here this time around.
Yes.
We're going to have a whole new cast and crew here. Whole new questions, at least during the parts that you contribute and vote on. Some of the base questions are going to be the same, but totally different viewpoints. So, kind of looking forward to it. Don't know about you.
Very much so. Yes.
Yeah.
Bear with me. I just got to do one thing real quick. I was messing around with a setting on something, trying to fix something right as you popped over to me.
All good. I will say, you guys, if you like PvP, you can stay in the chat and wait for us to go live again and fight over who gets first. There's a first redeem, only one per stream. So technically that'll be a whole new stream. Y'all can fight over who gets the first redeem for part 2. Chat PvP, boom, boom, boom. We do have the battle that you can do on screen when we're doing the countdown as well. Champion of the Hill.
So here, one moment. Cool.
I'll be updating see, like that. And all you got to do is !join, and your little avatar will join in with a random little weapon. Like TGF has a plunger, so we'll just see people kind of go flying off. But yeah, join us in. What?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can take us out to the intermission, and I'm just going to try to sign off just on YouTube and keep Twitch going. We'll see what happens.
Join us next for Aura, Axiom, Delirium, Grey Sentinels, and Polar. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
GG Gamers, bye.
Later, PvPers.
See you soon.